Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you on this Wednesday afternoon. Grayson and Darian producing for us. We're Sports Time, and we're with you for the next 3 hours. A ton to get into. Opening night last night in the NBA with a doubleheader. We've got the Grizzlies in action tonight. We've got college football news, NFL news. A lot to get into over these next 3 hours. But, Brett, how are you today?
Brian, I'm doing great, and last night was fun, kind of just a little toe in the water tonight. It's 10 games. We go all the way to the deep end tonight with a lot of great games, of course, including the Memphis Grizzlies opening night.
That's right. It's going to be fun. It's what everyone's been looking forward to, especially with what last year was. It was get to the off season, then let's get to opening night. I was talking with Darian earlier, and Summer League's cool, preseason's fun, I guess. I'm not a huge preseason guy. It's when the regular season starts is when everyone can get excited, and that really starts that race. And so, tonight I would have loved it to be a home game, but it's an away game on the road in Salt Lake City, and it should be good. I mean, this is a Grizzlies team bringing a lot of guys back. We know Jaren Jackson's not going to play tonight. Luke Kennard's not going to play tonight. But, you'll have Ja back. You'll have Desmond back. You'll get to see Zach Edey in his first official game that matters for the Grizzlies, going up against a Jazz team that is very young and really building for the future.
And we will pick our Western Conference at 5:30, 1 through 16 playoffs, where the Grizzlies land. The Vegas over and under for the Grizzlies season win total, it settled in at 47.5. Any hints on yours on over under?
I
stay tuned, huh?
Stay tuned, I guess. Yeah. I guess.
Last night was fun. The ring ceremony in Boston. Now, the team officials and team employees, including Memphian, that is the mascot for the Boston Celtics, they get their rings in November.
Interesting. Okay.
Last night was kind of players only. And it was a nice ceremony, and then they blasted the ever-living what out of the Knicks.
Yeah, it was the Celtics offense clicking last night to a T. Jason Tatum was seeing red last night and was it didn't matter who was in front of him. Nobody was going to stop him. He led all scoring with 37 points, 14 for 18 from the field, 8 for 11 from three. I mean, he was out to prove something, and he looked really good last night.
Don't go on a wild goose chase, because I could look it up just as quickly as you could. But, boy, whenever they play Golden State for the first time, I think that's one he's going to be plenty motivated by, because some things from the Olympics still linger like that, and Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I know you're absolutely right. And so, it was good to see him though last night. Have that great game and really lead Boston.
Is he going to stay mad all year over it?
I hope so. If he continues to play like that, I hope so. I mean, that was fantastic, and it was. I mentioned this to somebody earlier. It wasn't like the Knicks played all that bad. I mean, they were making shots. I think they shot 55% from the field. It was just what he was doing, what the Celtics were doing, shooting the three ball. It was just too much to overcome, and I don't think anybody would have been able to overcome what Boston did last night.
I don't either. It wasn't that bad of defense either.
No.
I mean, it was anything but layups.
Yeah, that's right. It was a whole lot of three ball from Boston. It looks like November 6th. So.
Oh, that's quick.
Right around the corner. I mean, that's 2 weeks from now. Yeah. November 6th at home
that's
against
2 weeks
Golden
from tonight.
State. And, of course.
Is that right?
That is right. 2 weeks from tonight. It's a Wednesday. Of course, though, it's going to be an ESPN game. Of course. Absolutely.
It should be.
Yes.
I hope there's not that with Kerr and Tatum. I mean,
I doubt
look,
there is.
We went and won, and it was a great feeling. And you saw the kinship last night. I mean, what Anthony Edwards' relationship with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you can tell it.
For sure, and it was fun at one point late in the game. Ant's taking over for Minnesota. AD's taking over for the Lakers, and I think AD got fouled and turned around, and Ant was standing there, and they kind of started jawing at each other, all in good fun. So no, that was that second game was a lot of fun. I mean, you had the Lakers go up by as many as 19 in that second quarter, I believe it was. But then, late in the third quarter, here comes Minnesota, and, they're able to trim it to a 10-point game. And, late in that game, it got a little scary for the Lakers, but they were able to get the win. I thought, good first game for JJ Redick as he starts his coaching career
1-0.
with the Lakers. 1-0. I thought he did some good things. I thought both games were really fun last night.
Tonight, 10 games, not very many East versus West. It's mostly conference against each other, East against the East and West against the West. Two exceptions to that, and one of the two exceptions to it, sneaky good game tonight with the Charlotte Hornets going to Houston.
Yeah.
Some really young team
Sure.
that a lot of people may have as the sneaky team. Somebody starts 1-0.
Sure, yeah.
That's not that's not the predictor of the whole season.
Right.
But for two really young teams, would have to feel good to be 1-0.
Yeah, and I think what was the number? I think the Rockets had a 19-game improvement last year, and
that's what Charlotte wants this year.
Exactly, and so I think you look at these two teams. Rockets obviously a little bit ahead of the Hornets. With some of those guys that have been there a couple years, and they brought in some veterans. And so I think the Hornets, you're right. I think if the Hornets could have the year the Rockets had last year, they'll be very, very happy. For the Rockets, it's trying to improve, and it's back to what we were talking about yesterday, and we'll get into it a lot at 5:30. This gauntlet of the Western Conference, and when you're a team like the Rockets, it is going to take a whole lot, to even be in that playoff conversation. And so I think for them, if they can get into one of those play-in spots, that would be a huge win for them.
One of the fun stories about the whole schedule tonight, and it's the 9 o'clock ESPN game tonight, and the energy surrounding an opening of a building.
How about that?
And it's always a lot of fun when you have that, but tonight Steve Ballmer's $2 billion Intuit Arena opens right there by SoFi Stadium, by where Hollywood Park used to be, not far from where the Fabulous Forum used to be, and everybody looking forward to seeing all the bells and whistles of that. And did you see the ESPN rankings of the arenas?
I did, Brett. Yes, I did.
And I haven't been to that many NBA arenas.
Right.
I've probably been to them more for college games than I have to actual NBA. I've been to some, though. And it has FedEx Forum is 26th.
Yeah, how about that?
That means there's a lot of nice real estate out there. 'Cause FedEx Forum is plenty nice.
Oh, FedEx Forum is very nice, and
I think.
I think it is too. I mean, maybe
I've been around a little.
Sure. I mean, maybe our 5 o'clock guest can give us a little more insight on other arenas around the league. And Rob Fisher will be in number 15, a top 15 arena tonight in Salt Lake City. But yeah, I was a little surprised that FedEx Forum was ranked so low.
I guess somebody had to be.
I mean, I guess so. And I'm sure that's a lot of places. Is you're going to say your arena's great and
you have it right in front of you.
I'm trying to pull it out. I had it up and my app wasn't working.
I did the same thing, and I would assume behind it. I've been to Charlotte. It's comparable to. Toss a coin.
Sure.
I would bet Charlotte's behind. I'm pretty sure Charlotte was behind when I saw it earlier today.
Behind the
New
Grizzlies,
Orleans will be behind it.
Yep, let's
see. And it should be.
So
I've been to an NBA game there.
Hornets at 27.
Okay. Correct.
Pelicans at 28.
I agree.
Spurs at 29.
Never been.
And then to be determined for the Clippers for the Intuit Dome.
Oh, it's not last.
No. But they just didn't rank it because obviously nobody's seen it. But
Phillips Arena in Atlanta. Where is it?
I think that might be right.
Because it's good, but not anything that extraordinary, and not over and above FedEx Forum.
16.
Really? Okay.
Yep. State Farm Arena. 16.
American Airlines Center in Dallas. Yes, above
13 for them.
Yeah. And I would agree with that.
Sure. Yeah. I've never been. Only
for what it's worth.
NBA arena I've been in is FedEx Forum, so I'm not the good judge.
Well, the judge will be Rob.
Yeah.
Rob be the perfect judge. He's been in them all the old ones, all the new ones.
So
I guess he hadn't been into it yet, but he will.
Yeah, he will be. But no,
I think he has been to Hollywood Park though. in the day.
I believe it. I absolutely believe it.
Hopefully with winning tickets in hand.
Hopefully. And I think with him, and now a part of the FanDuel Sports Network. Now, I do have to say this, Brett. I watched a ton of hockey last night as it was the Frozen
Yeah, how was
frenzy.
our night in hockey?
It was good. It was really good. I'll be honest. So went to Huey's last night. Sat in a booth. Where right in front of me on a wall we had a TV that was on ESPN right as the Kraken game was starting, so that was fantastic. Then to my right was the bar area, 2 televisions above the bar, one on the NBA game, the other one on ESPN with hockey. So I had a good view. I had, Kraken right in front of me, the basketball right to my right, could see everything, great view. Well, this third TV that I wasn't really watching, I wasn't really paying attention to, I noticed the bartender go and grab the remote and start changing it from the hockey.
Wait. What is he doing that for?
And so it didn't bother me because it wasn't my television, so I didn't have to worry about it. But he changes it to the CUSA football last night. Now look, I love CUSA football, but that game last night was not good. That was not a game that we need to change the television at Huey's to change to the UTEP and La Tech game.
Playing.
Well, yeah, hey, I loved it. I had unders for both, so we took the
you
under
did?
in both
You rode
those
the
games
under,
and won both of them. So
right to the victory circle.
That's CUSA football for you, I guess. So,
Yeah,
but
Louisiana Tech, they don't score a lot of points.
No, neither does UTEP.
Louisiana Tech goes to Arkansas late in the year.
Do they really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, Razorbacks, that might be another win. I think you feel pretty good about that if you're Arkansas, but
that's one they have to have.
Oh yeah, they absolutely have to win that one. But no, the hockey was good, but my gripe is so obviously they were flipping back and forth to all the local broadcasts of these games, and so it was my first real time watching games on the FanDuel Sports Network. So they're going from all these games. Now here's the problem I have. We're FanDuel Sports Network, and at the bottom they have this ticker that's rolling through all the games that are about to start, yada, yada, yada. Not once did I see odds on the screen. Now look, if we are FanDuel Sports Network, we have to at least dip our toes into the handicapping, the gambling.
Belly busters.
That's what I'm saying. And not once did I see odds on my screen. It was ridiculous. So,
I wonder if that's the league asking them not to.
But
why would they? Because every league's hip deep.
It might be. The thing that I don't understand is because I know, and look, I'm not going to say I've watched the pregame and postgame for hockey. I don't. I just watch the games. But I watch pre and postgame for the Grizzlies, and I know Rob every single game
always
gives a same game parlay for the game, and so I know that's out there for the NBA. NBA's not saying let's not exactly. And now even more with FanDuel Sports Network. So I was a little disappointed last night with the lack of gambling on the FanDuel Sports Network.
I'm surprised at that. I thought they would tell a lot. Boy, it's a fire sale with the Titans, isn't it?
Holy cow, yeah. You wake up this morning and another one gone. So
and a linebacker gone.
Really? I missed that.
Late in the day, Seahawks trading for Ernest Jones.
Wow. Okay. So, so everybody goes. I think you watched that Titans team, unfortunately, and they just don't have much this year.
They don't have anything.
No.
And they're going to be drafting a quarterback.
Yeah, man, it's what it's starting to look like. And so at this point, when you're in the spot of the Titans, you got to start looking towards 3 to 4 years down the road, and not this year, next year. And so,
and Rand Carthon's got to be wondering, am I going to be? Am I doing this for my successor?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And so so definitely big news.
And he doesn't need much to shine up his profile.
Sure.
But if you and it's been a long time since his passing. It's been a long time since his playing days. But did the Houston Oilers make it work drafting Aaron McNair?
Oh man. Oh, absolutely.
And look at the, just the merry-go-round of bad draft picks, quarterbacks since for the Titans.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right about that.
Steve McNair was some hoss.
No, he's fantastic.
One of my favorite guys ever in sports. In that odd year here, when it was the Tennessee Oilers playing here that year in '97, he was just one of the great guys. Yeah. Eddie George was the same. They had a wide receiver, Chris Sanders, was like that. had a lineman that was offensive lineman that played at North Carolina. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. He was great to be around.
Yeah.
A couple of defensive guys were great to be around.
That's
Jeff
awesome.
Fisher was great.
Yeah.
But Steve McNair, just Blaine Bishop was great. Blaine Bishop played that year with a broken arm.
Love that. You know how tough you got to be to play with a broken arm?
Oh,
man.
Just got. I saw him years later, and he's very, very popular Nashville sports talk radio guy. Now I saw him years later at the Super Bowl. We were talking about it, and I said, "Man, how shot up would you have to be?" He said, "Nothing like air was taken."
Well.
He said, "Steve McNair would." Guy would whatever it took to get on that field.
Man, that's awesome. That's great. Well, we've got a ton to get to today in today's show, so let me set it up for you before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Coach Tommy West. He joins us every Wednesday, talk some college football. We'll talk some ball with Coach West, get to some of these games that happened over the weekend, talk about the weekend slate coming up. 3:45, we'll talk some NBA, talk a little bit more about the games we saw last night, the games tonight, including Grizzlies on the road against the Jazz. 4 o'clock, David Cohn. He'll join us, the co-host of Crane and Company. We'll talk college football with him, take a look at those big games in the SEC last weekend. 4:30, take a look at some bracketology as we get closer and closer to the college basketball season. Our guy Joey Brackets, he never sleeps. He never misses posting a bracket, so we got to get to his latest bracketology. I would guess probably the last bracketology before ball goes up in the air.
No.
Really? You think we get another one?
We're good for 2 more.
What's going to change before then? I mean, all these secret scrimmages?
It's what I love about in some of the seating, he's got the arrow up or down for people.
Oh, I love it.
What caused it to move?
They're improving, Brett. I mean, what? I don't know. Teams are getting better.
October
teams getting
camp?
worse. I guess so. These secret scrimmages, Brett. He's reading too much into it.
I thought they were secret.
Yeah, well, the biggest, the worst kept secret scrimmages, honestly. So we'll talk some bracketology at 4:30. 4:45, big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Rob Fisher from the FanDuel Sports Network, also at Grind City Media. He'll join us. We'll talk about the Grizzlies, what he saw in preseason, what he expects to see tonight, opening night for the Grizzlies against the Jazz. 5:30, we'll make our picks for the Western Conference, and also we will crown our predictions for NBA champions in that segment as well. Then 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's the world's biggest spa sale going on now at Family Leisure. Save thousands on in-stock hot tubs ready for delivery. Spas starting at $28.99. Cold plunges at $39.99. Swim spas at $17,499. Special financing is available, and don't forget about the huge discounts on all in-stock above-ground pools and all patio furniture. It's priced to move. So head over to Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
He's Brian. I'm Brett. We're Sports Time, produced by Darian and by Grayson. It takes two to keep this train on the track, and we sure appreciate those guys. We're here till 6 o'clock, and we want you to be a big part of our show. You can text or call 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk number, and all our guests will appear on that same number, 901-360-8255, at the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. We're always in our Family Leisure Studios, and this hour always brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. They're at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2025 models, the remaining 24s, and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673. No appointments necessary for anything. But if you want to schedule service, you can sure call them there. But they want you to stop by the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of that all-new 2025 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Also a very safe experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day has got to be the NBA, and more importantly, the Grizzlies kicking their season off tonight on the road in Utah against the Jazz. Oh, it's going to be so much fun to see Ja Morant and Desmond Bane back out there in a game that matters. I was talking to Darian about this earlier. You know, preseason's great. I know you need it. I just can't get that into it. It's just not really my thing. I'll watch it, but I can't get super excited for preseason games. Now, what I can get super excited for is regular season games, and that's what we'll get tonight.
Right. And I can't match people's intensity on Summer League. I'm sorry.
See, I love Summer League. Summer League, that's my jam. Preseason, not so much. I cannot get up for preseason basketball. But hey, if you can, I'm glad. I'm happy for you. But tonight, you got to know that Ja Morant, even though he played in a couple preseason games, he has been waiting for tonight for such a long time. Ever since that injury that knocked him out of last season, he's been waiting to get back on the court for regular season action, and tonight will be that night. I think he'll be fired up. I think he'll be ready to go. We know Jaren Jackson isn't going to play tonight. Luke Kennard is going to be out as well, but Zach Edey will play, and we'll see what he can do in a regular season game at the center position. Obviously, he'll be asked to be that starting center and give them good minutes, and obviously there's going to be the ups and downs. Every rookie has them, and we'll see what he can show in his first game against a team that has a lot of rookies and second-year guys on their team in the Utah Jazz. Right now, Grizzlies a 2.5-point favorite. I don't know, Brett. Kind of like them on the road.
I kind of like them on the road, too, but there are some historic numbers really against the Grizzlies. 5-18 in Memphis in 23 opening nights and 0-6 on the road.
Whoa. Yeah. Maybe I don't like him as much, huh?
Well, buyer beware. We want to get all the information out there, don't we?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
My top story, the 82-game soap opera begins tonight in the sleepiest NBA city, I think, is out there in Salt Lake City. It's one place that but you don't have to worry about bed check and curfew for anybody. Everybody rolls in pretty early, including the Grizzlies on the road tonight to start this magical mystery tour that we've been waiting for. We've been through a lot since March of 2023, but I'm glad it's starting to be it is all behind us. At Utah tonight, at Houston Friday, FedEx Forum lid lifter on Saturday. By the end of October, we'll already have played 6 games. Good start. Move on from last year's nightmare. Celebrate being downtown starting this weekend. Get excited over the Grizzlies again. It begins tonight in Utah.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it's got to be the rest of the NBA. My top story was the Grizzlies. Not top story is the NBA. Last night, 2 fun games on TNT. The first one, it was all Celtics. Man, did they look good. Jason Tatum, one of the better performances he's had in a while. And then that second game, Lakers and Timberwolves. I thought good things at times for both teams, but it was really the Lakers that looked really good. I thought J.J. Redick did some good things in his first official game that matters as a head coach, and this Lakers team looks like they have something. You know, Brett, our bet did not hit last night with Dalton Connect, but I thought he looked good. In the minutes he was out there, shot looked good.
All salute to Vegas on that.
Oh, man.
They have that number.
Man, it was a perfect number.
How do they always know?
They always know, Brett.
They're really serious
they're
about it,
good at their job. That's why they have so much money out there, Brett, just because they're really, really good at their job.
Giving away free lobster
That's
right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I am excited, though, for tonight's action outside of this Grizzlies game. We've got a doubleheader on ESPN tonight, Bucks and 76ers. And how about this? This just came out earlier today, but Shams reporting this, that the NBA is likely to commence an investigation into the 76ers surrounding the player participation of all NBA center Joel Embiid. Sources told ESPN, we know Joel Embiid will not play tonight, neither will Paul George. But this comes about a week after Joel Embiid told reporters that he will never again play back-to-back games on back-to-backs. He'll never play the second game of those back-to-backs because of his injury history. Now it looks like the NBA wants to look into that. So we'll see the 76ers tonight versus the Bucks. Then that second game, Suns and Clippers, and I'm sure we will get to see every single piece of the Intuit Dome, as it seems like everybody very excited to see it. Everybody wants to see all of the features, very tech-savvy stuff in this. I was just reading, someone did a thread on Twitter where they had a private tour, and so they were putting kind of everything they noticed. How about this? Every seat comes with an LED armrest, a USB-C charging outlet so you can charge your phone while you're watching the game, and video game style buttons. The buttons can be used for trivia games and fan activities on the Halo board. So very tech-savvy stadium this dome will be.
Where we are.
It sure is.
It's where we are. The 76ers' one and only Memphis appearance comes 4 weeks from tonight on Wednesday, November 20th, when Philadelphia comes to town to play the Grizzlies. My not top story, Bronny and LeBron played together. Yay. I mean, we know why he's in the league, and I guess I'm okay by it. He had a double-double last night of 0 points and 0 rebounds. He did have an assist, but they got it out of the way. Did you see the picture of him pregame with the Griffies?
I did, yes, I did.
Ken Griffey Sr. is taller than Bronny.
Yeah, no, he was not blessed with his father's height genes, I can tell you
and
that.
now they're talking about he's really going to be a lockdown defender. Please.
Yeah, I mean...
It won't ever end, but enjoy it if you want to.
Yeah, well, at least they got it out of the way last night, and let them have their moment, and now they can just focus on basketball. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break, and when we come back, we're talking some college football with Coach Tommy West.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
It's here, Genesis Diamond's largest ever sale on luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. It's in our castle today. If you've ever dreamed of wearing a Rolex, you can't miss this special 2-day event this Friday and Saturday. During this event, you can take advantage of special pricing and zero interest financing on a stunning selection of luxurious pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We've got hundreds of Colts, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, the hottest model Rolex watches that you can't find anywhere else. All of our luxury pre-owned Rolexes are in pristine, light new condition, some just out of the box. All price to sell at this event. Listen to this. For the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex at this event, Genesis will give you a pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings for free. That's a $3,000 value. And listen up, Rolex owners. Our pre-owned Rolex buyers are on site offering top dollar for your Rolex. Come see the largest selection of luxury Rolex watches in the state and take advantage of special financing. Plus, get a pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings free. It's this Friday and Saturday only. And only at Genesis Diamonds on Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Summer may be over, but yard work, it goes on. Don't worry, Colonial Hardware makes it easy for you. Colonial Hardware has all the lawn and garden tools you need from the best brands in the business. Ferris, Snapper, Husqvarna, Toro, Echo, Shindaiwa, and Billigo. Servicing most brands of lawn equipment, Colonial's master service techs will keep you going year-round. Colonial Hardware, family-owned and operated, and serving you for nearly 50 years. Next to Bass Pro and Lincoln at Sycamore View, and online at colonialhardwareinc.com. Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now to talk some college football, Coach Tommy West joins us now. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to get into. I want to start off with this Tennessee-Alabama game from Saturday. A lot of fun watching this Tennessee team and how they were able to win that game. It really felt like the game plan going into it was trust this defense that's been so good all year, ride the run game, and then when you need Nico to make a play, put it in his hands and have him make that, and he did that with his lone passing touchdown. What did you see from this Tennessee team in their win over Alabama?
I think it confirmed that Tennessee's got one of the best defenses in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they're really, really good. And it's a good thing they are because they're obviously struggling offensively right now. The thing that I can't put my hands around is how you can go 3 games first half, you can be so bad and not score touchdowns, and then all of a sudden you look like you're playing really well offensively in the second half. I can't put my hand on it. I can't figure the thing out. But I think that again, I bragged on Heupel early in the year when he had a game won, and he kind of sat down on it and just won the game, didn't try to run the score up. Now I think he's done a good job of realizing that, hey, we got a freshman quarterback. I think he's going to be a really, really good player, but he's not right now. And we need to play to our defense and let our defense keep us in the game. And then we've got to win games in the second half and in the fourth quarter.
How hard, Coach West, is it for a very noted offensive guy like Josh Heupel to finally get to that spot of instead of maybe panicking and trying to do too much of, okay, we're going to play defense and we're going to run the ball. We're not going to fog it around 60 times.
Well, I think he's been around a little while. He's not an old guy, but he's certainly not a spring chicken either. So he understands that if you can play special teams like we talked about last week, that the teams would be a big factor in that game for his field position. But if you can play special teams and defense and give your offense good enough field position, then you're going to score some points. Now, if you don't, and you get it backed up and you're he's doing things like third down, and he had a 3rd and 12, and he was very, very conservative with it because he doesn't want to turn the ball over. He knows he can punt it and play defense. Coach Bowden at Florida State used to be really good at that. They were great on defense, and he wouldn't take a lot of chances early. I mean, he'd let his defense get him in position, and then they'd score points. And I don't think he's that kind of guy. I don't see him as one of those. Again, he's not an air raid guy. He's not a guy that just and he gets offended when you call his offense air raid.
Yeah, it was another game.
Because he's not air raid. He's not nothing wrong with air raid, but that's not what he is. He's not a Lincoln Riley. That's not. He wants to win the game, however he has to win it, whether that's running the ball or throwing the ball.
Coach, I promise you, Saturday night I'm watching games, and I thought of you during the LSU-Arkansas game. They kept running their kicker out there for field goals. Getting threes, not so bad, is it?
Well, you got it. Their points, they add up in time. I think, a lot of people, frown. Of course, everybody in the stands wants to go for it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then what kills me is when those offensive linemen want to stand out there and, start acting up about, come on, let's go for it. Well, we just went for it twice, and we didn't make a yard either time. So what makes you think we're going to get it now? But, the kickers got to get going, in my opinion. I've seen a lot of missed field goals this season. But as to your point, they add up. The points add up.
You talked about Coach Bobby Bowden at Florida State. I know nobody was in your head, but game planning, getting ready for a week of an opponent, who were some of the coaches that you knew? Man, I'm going against one this week. I got to have my best game ready.
Well, Coach Bowden was certainly one of them.
Sure.
Because he was a good coach and had great talent. Well, I mean, what did they go? 11 years they were a top 5 team in a row. Geez. Great talent. That was the guy. That was who in the in the ACC when I was at Clemson. That you had to outwork. And that was when I was hired at Clemson. I was told that would be my job. I had to beat Florida State, and came close a couple times and never did get it done. That's why I'm here now.
Yeah, and those administrators say that make it sound easy, don't they?
Right.
Yeah. But I tell you, the guy.
That's why they're administrators.
In my 10 years at Memphis, the guy, and we beat them most all the time. But I knew going in, Art Browse was at Houston, and he was a guy that was you knew you better be ready now because they could score points in a hurry. And for some reason, we had a really good record against them. But Art Browse was an excellent football coach.
Coach, I would have lost $1 bet with Brian on that. I would have bet from your Memphis days. I would have bet you'd have said Bobby Petrino.
Mm.
Well, we crushed him. That was probably one of the best wins that
no doubt
that we had was the 38-8 game
Pile of
up
feathers.
at Louisville. Pile of feathers game. And Petrino, I think after the game he was in total shock.
Yeah. He wasn't very pleasant, was he?
No, because I think it was 38-7. But they scored first. It was 7-0, and then we got on a roll and played really, really good. So, he did a good job. But I think Browse was a really good coach.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of the Tigers won again on Saturday over North Texas, a shootout, and gained bowl eligibility. Now 11 bowl games in a row for the University of Memphis. I remember the first Memphis bowl game I went to when I was 3 years old in 2003, the New Orleans Bowl. What does this mean for the program? Obviously, you were here. You know where this program has been. What does it mean to hear Memphis making 11 straight bowl games?
Well, I thought it could be done. I knew it could be done.
Yeah, you did.
And I said it over and over and over, but I kept thinking we got to put something in it. We got to give ourselves a chance. And you keep hearing, Memphis is a basketball town, and no, Memphis is not Memphis is a sports town. Memphis loves sports, and they love a winner like everybody. But I knew that if you could ever get it going, that you could turn that into something really special. We got it going. I thought we got it to the 7-win.
Yeah,
no doubt.
We got it up there to about 7 wins. We had a 9-win season, but consistently we were about a 7-win team. And now they've taken it and they've moved it, to an 8, to a 9, to a 10-win team. And it doesn't surprise me at all. It makes me really happy. And I'm glad for them that they got it going. Now they got to get their defense going if they're going to stay in the thing.
Is it
but their
harder?
schedule, they're going to win. They're going to win until they get to Tulane. That's the game they got to win.
They sure are. Coach, is it harder to convince your locker room or your fan and donor base that it can be done when it hadn't been done? Like when you moved that mountain, what was harder, the fan donor base or the locker room?
Probably recruiting. That's what happens is when you don't put anything in it, then high school coaches aren't going to encourage their guys to come there.
Right.
They want their guys to go somewhere where football's important, and the way you prove that football's important is you put your money in it. If you've got money, you're going to put it where it's important, and that was the thing. Probably was recruiting more so than. Our fan base when I got there was like, oh, okay, go ahead and tell us we're going to go to a bowl game, but or please don't tell us that we're going to a bowl. And I said, no, I'm not going to tell you. We're going to work our butts off to try to get there, but I'm not going to promise you that. Now our locker room, the biggest thing was convincing guys like D'Angelo Williams that we can turn this thing around. We can win here. And we can win here in a big way. That was probably the hardest part.
Mm-hmm.
After the Ole Miss heartbreak to LSU, and just a few weeks before that, the loss to Kentucky, now open date, what do you think Lane Kiffin's got to tell his team for the rest of the year? Does he try to sell playoffs? Does he try to sell week to week? A combination of both, because it is a very, very talented team, but it has 2 losses and we hadn't got to the 1st of November yet.
Yeah, see, and that's what I said last week. I said they've got to find out what's the magic potion there, because something's not right. They're too talented to have 2 losses right now. To 2 teams, really, I think they should have beaten. They've got to well, like LSU, I mean, to go the second half in an overtime and not score a touchdown with the players they have offensively, and it's not like LSU is one of the better defenses in the league. You got it. To me, that's what you have to do in an open date. Is hey, here's where we're struggling. Here's what we're going to do, and here's how we're going to get it better, and then just go to work to make it better. But that's what they've got to do. I think defensively, I think they've hung in there fairly well, but offensively, they got to score points. It'd be interesting to me. LSU, I'm just not a big fan of theirs right now. That game this week at A&M will be really interesting to me with LSU.
It will be. Somebody will have two losses, either A&M that lost on opening night to Notre Dame or LSU that lost opening weekend that Sunday of Labor Day weekend to USC. On our Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines, Coach Tommy West with us every week talking college football. Are you surprised that Oklahoma's having these SEC struggles?
Not at all. Going into the year, I thought that I didn't think they are near ready. I said it because Brent followed Lincoln Riley, who I like Lincoln Riley as a guy, but I don't think he's a tough, hard-nosed football coach. He's an air raid guy that's going to throw it all the time, and it doesn't create toughness. Now, Venables has got their defense playing pretty well on defense, but I knew it would take 2 or 3 years to create the toughness that you have to have in the SEC. I'm not saying that Lincoln can't win at Southern Cal. He hasn't, but I'm not saying that he can't do it in that league. But in the SEC, you have to have some toughness. There's going to come times in almost every game where you have to be able to run the ball, and it's just sheer toughness up front and that kind of attitude that you have to have. I think Venables is seeing that. He obviously doesn't have a quarterback, but he doesn't have a running game to lean on, a la Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. The other new team that entered the SEC, Texas, they were rolling right along undefeated, and then they got to face Georgia and really get dominated by that Georgia defense, 30-15, that final score. Now, don't look now, they got to go to Nashville to play Vanderbilt, America's team. What did you see from Texas in this game? I was talking with somebody, and they said this was Texas' first real test. Did you see it that way against Georgia, and what did you see from this Texas team?
I did, and I think what you saw in that game is that Georgia and Tennessee are elite defenses, absolutely elite, and their defense can control games for them. I think Texas will be fine offensively, defensively. I don't think Texas is like Georgia or like Tennessee defensively, and now their schedule is good for them. They don't have to play like Georgia. They don't have to play everybody. Georgia's played Alabama, but still got Ole Miss, Tennessee left. But that game was one that I thought kind of lived up to its billing. The one thing I liked was when they did substitute the quarterback. I thought that was, and I saw today where Manziel was really speaking bad of Texas for doing that. But I'm going to tell you something now. When your starting quarterback is struggling, the best thing you can do is pull him off for a series and let him watch and tell him, say, hey, man, come over here, watch what's going on, and get your thoughts back together, and let's get ready to go back. But let's give this. And they've got the luxury of having a great backup quarterback that also brings something to the table with his legs.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a great move by Sarkisian to put Manning in the game and give him a couple series, and he did move the ball.
And Ewers responded to that. He played better after that.
He did. Came back in the second half and played his tail off. The thing we hadn't talked about is the call that they reversed.
Oh, my.
I'm sure y'all have been talking about it this week, but if I'm Kirby Smart, I'm still out in the middle of the field.
I'm in jail.
Do that. You can't. It's an irreversible. This is not reviewable. That call is not reviewable. And all of a sudden, you start watching the Videotron, and then you decide, well, maybe we need to look at this. And now while they're getting all the trash off the field, you want to look at it and then change it. And I'm like, this can't be happening. Was it a bad call? Absolutely,
Sure.
It was a bad call. But you can't just say, "Oh, okay, well, let's change."
I swear, watching it real time, I'm going, Kirby, don't get arrested. Don't
Yeah,
get let
I'm
off
telling
in
you.
cuffs. I mean,
telling
because they would have had to bound and gag me.
And it was at a critical time where Texas was trying to come back.
Yeah. I know you are very proud of your son, Turner West, on the staff at Georgia Southern with Clay Helton. I know you're good friends with a lot of that staff. This week, if Georgia Southern wins, they're bowl eligible. They'll be 6-2. They lost opening day against Boise. They lost in Oxford. They're playing good football. I love the people that say the bowls don't matter. Tell that locker room at Georgia Southern.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the bowls matter. Absolutely, they matter. I tell you, talking about bowls mattering. Bill Curry did our game at the New Orleans Bowl that you were talking about, that you referred to earlier, and he had told me that at one time he had kind of thought that maybe some of the lower tier bowls that they needed to do away with them. And he told me after the game, he said, "Tommy, I'm going to tell you something." He said that crowd convinced me that we need to have all the bowls. Because there won't be a crowd anywhere. And I said, well, they're playing the national championship game here in 2 weeks, and whoever wins, that locker room won't be any happier than our locker room was after that game, and our crowd was. So, there obviously should be a great fight for all the bowls.
Absolutely. Look what it did to 3-year-old Brian.
That's right. One of my great
and Turner and
memories.
them, I tell you, Turner and them are playing good football right now.
They sure are.
Yes, they are.
The big, Marshall, Turner and I were laughing about it. It's funny how a season can go. They're beat against Marshall. I think it was 23-5 or whatever it was. And they're beat because I'm sitting there going, okay, they're not going to get enough possessions to win the game. And the only way they can is Marshall turns it over. And Marshall turns it over their last 3 possessions. and they
crazy.
win. So, and now all of a sudden, then James Madison comes in a 10-point favorite, and they dominate them. So, I mean, it's funny how things can change your season.
Yeah. Sometimes 20-year-olds act like 20-year-olds, won't they?
That's right. Well, Coach, as always, thanks so
Great
much for
stuff.
joining us. We'll do it again next week.
All right, look forward to it. See you. Have a
Thank
good
you,
weekend,
Coach.
guys.
Thanks, Coach.
You
Right
too.
back
Thank
at you. Coach Tommy West joining us every single week to talk some college football, and it's turning into, very quickly, already was when I heard we were doing it, one of my favorite segments of the week.
No
I mean, he is so good when it comes to talking college football. Absolutely.
And I'm pulling so much for Georgia Southern. I knew when they were in Oxford that if they could stay injury-free, they could win a bunch of games.
Yeah.
That game's on tomorrow night.
Oh, wow.
And Coach West mentioned about USC and Lincoln Riley.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see more and more of these stories. Since Pete Carroll, you've had Lane Kiffin, Clay Helton, Steve Sarkisian, and Lincoln Riley as head coach.
Wow.
That's good coaches.
Some good coaches.
What if mere mortals can't do what Pete Carroll did?
Yeah, I mean, they've done it at other places. I mean, you look at those coaches and what they're doing now at different spots, might not be the coaches.
Might not.
Might just be that one coach was so good, and
I
it's
think
hard
I had
to.
Sarkisian and Helton flip-flopped.
Sure.
Sark was there before Clay Helton, but
Wow, that's a good list of names right there. But I forgot about that Georgia Southern game against Marshall. That game was crazy. I mean, they were out of it completely, came all the way back and got the win. So good stuff. Let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk some more NBA.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the Little Red Tractor from Case IH, the Farm All, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find the Case IH Farm All that's right for you.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Napa Cafe celebrates 26 years in 2024. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. If you are a first-time guest or have dined with us countless times, I want to thank you for making us part of your lives. Whether you're celebrating with the crowd or planning a cozy date night on the town, Napa Cafe can provide you an extraordinary evening. We have 5 dining rooms, including our private wine cellar, our Jan's room for 2 guests, and the Eleanor room for parties up to 60. Sit back, relax, and celebrate. Leave the cooking to us. Come see me at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderlin Avenue. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. We also offer curbside pickup from our full menu. For details on our stay-in, dine-out menu or reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe in 2024. We can't wait to serve you.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stack Snoresworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we wrap up our first hour and talk some more NBA. We had the 2 games last night, whole bunch of games tonight, 10 on the slate for tonight, including that game for the Grizzlies as they start the season on the road against the Utah Jazz. Brett, I know we'll talk more about it as we go through the show, certainly when we talk to Rob at 5 o'clock. But tonight, for the Grizzlies, what are you really going to be watching? What are you really going to be looking for tonight?
I'm going to be watching 2 things, the long and the short of it. John Morant and Zach Edey.
There you go. That's what I'm going to be watching. I'll tell you what.
I know there's other players on the team, and I know there are primary other players on the team. But still, for me, the return of Ja last year, it was so brief.
Yeah.
I didn't feel very returned back.
No.
And the beginning of Zach Edey's career tonight and the expectation for him, that's what I'm going to be watching.
Yeah.
And this Grizzlies team that's been through a lot, and it's finally over.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think you make a good point because I am well aware that Ja came back last year. Ja played games last season, but it really feels like we've been waiting for the return of Ja for over a year now, because when he came back, it was so brief. Right. He gets injured. He's out for the season. It feels like we all have been waiting forever to see Ja Morant, and so I do think there's a real excitement, a real buzz to just see Ja back out there playing basketball.
And we saw the spark he brought in that brief time back.
Yeah,
that was the high point of the year.
I mean, we're going to turn this thing around, and Ja's back, and he's going to be the guy that leads this team to the playoffs, and just as quick as that excitement was there, it was gone again.
Kind of in the weeds a little bit. I like DeMichael Cole's take on watching and seeing the improvement of not just tonight, but over the whole course of the year of Santi.
Yeah,
I think that's critical, and I'm ready. I think Grizzlies fans, I think management, I think coaches, everybody, plenty patient with Jake LaRavia about everything. it's time to produce.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And, we always talk about those, quadruple A players and,
the satellite players.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of what Jake LaRavia has been. It feels like, when he gets sent down to the hustle and he's down in South Haven, you always hear, oh, man, 28 points last night for Jake LaRavia. But then, when he comes up to Memphis with the Grizzlies, he really struggles. And so, I think he's going to be a guy that, off the bench, they're going to look to, especially early right now with, Vince injured, Gigi injured. They're going to need him to come in there and knock down shots tonight with Luke Kennard out. Come in, knock down shots. But I think you're absolutely right about Santi Aldama. What this offseason was for him, he goes and plays for Team Spain in the Olympics. He looks good out there. He's knocking down shots. And so now coming back, let's see what he can give you, and certainly with Jaren out at least tonight and maybe a couple games, bigger opportunity for him to start the season.
I think a very interesting matchup tonight with Magic and Heat. I talked about a lot of East versus East. That's one that at the end of the year, it's not decided tonight, I know that, but at the end of the year, that could be a seed line.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you could definitely be looking at those two teams.
I don't think they'll be
season.
too far apart from each other.
No, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Is I think those are two teams that start the season tonight, and late in the season, that's going to be two teams that they're looking at each other of, hey, what are they doing? What seed are we getting? It feels like they're going to be right there with each other.
I'm ready for all of it tonight.
I am too.
Last night was just a little bit of a kind of dessert. Tonight's the full course meal.
Oh, you eat your dessert before the full course meal?
Why can't you?
That's right.
French do it.
That's true.
If I'm hungry, I'm hungry.
That's right. Maybe we should all do that.
Can you eat a cheeseburger for breakfast?
I've only done it once, and it was when I was in college. I don't think so.
I know you hadn't stayed out all night.
No. It was one of those I had to get up really, really early for something, and so I went to Huey's the night before, and I got food for that. And I said, you know what, I'll just get a burger for tomorrow morning, and I ate it for breakfast.
If I'm hungry, I'm going to eat whatever I want.
That's true. But no, I don't think I could eat a
Are you a breakfast food at dinner time guy?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
I'm not, because for this simple reason. I'm not a breakfast food guy at breakfast.
Well, see, yeah, I don't eat much breakfast. So, yeah, I mean, if I'm getting it for dinner, it's good. I like it. I enjoy it.
But I don't want bacon and eggs at 6:00 at night.
Oh, I can go for some bacon and
eggs. Never a bad time for breakfast.
Oh man, never a bad time for bacon. I mean, put that on something.
Well,
that's
some
bacon.
True. I mean,
breakfast, lunch, dinner, or even a little snack.
And why not?
Anytime.
I love it. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up this hour and get to a break. And when we come back, talking some more college football with David Cohn.
Silverado R124 8261 MSRP 60,600 dealer incentive 5151 customer cash 3,000 bonus cash 1750 Sierra RZ 321564 MSRP 87,500 dealer incentive 7,000 purchase allowance 2750 expires 10/31/24.
This season, get premium tech that inspires joy from Dell Technologies. Bring projects to life with the XPS 16. It delivers supercharged processing for enhanced productivity and freedom to express yourself. Performance class Dell PCs with Intel Core Ultra processors deliver a dedicated engine to help accelerate AI. Enjoy free shipping, Dell rewards, and expert support. When you get a Dell PC with AI, it gives back. Shop now at Dell.com/deals.
Hi, this is Dave Woloshin. Tune into my show Wednesday, October the 23rd. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to donate most of the show to talk about Alzheimer's. The annual Walk to End Alzheimer's is coming up Saturday, October the 26th at Shelby Farms. And we're going to try to raise a little extra money for the cause. We'll be selling a Penny Hardaway autographed basketball, a Ryan Silverfield autographed football, tickets to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and many other great items. Please tune in and help us raise money for Alzheimer's Wednesday, October 23rd. Thank you.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia, to Central Park in New York. But many people don't realize how much we do locally. For Holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 per person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. I'm looking at a car on its top here in the Midtown area on 40 eastbound before you get up to Jackson, right near this Midtown interchange here on 40 eastbound. It's got traffic slow. I'm guessing here the next few minutes it's going to back it up all the way to Danny Thomas because of this accident here in Midtown on 40 eastbound near the Midtown interchange before you get to Jackson. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full service family-owned business. Go by and see them. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Back to Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Wilson's Pro Wash, the residential and commercial pressure washing service you can trust. Here once again are Brett Morsworthy and Bryant Dakin.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now to talk some college football, David Cohn, the co-host of Crane and Company, joins us to talk some college football. David, thanks so much for joining us. Some really good games over the weekend to get to. I want to start with Georgia and Texas. Georgia's defense looked really, really good against this Texas offense. They ultimately win 30-15 in that one. You saw both quarterbacks take snaps for Texas after Quinn Ewers came out and looked pretty shaky early. What was your takeaway from Georgia's win, and does this kind of worry you a little bit about Texas, maybe that this was kind of the first test going forward in the SEC or even come playoff time?
Well, as always, thank you guys so much for having me. And I told you last week, and I said last week on Crane and Company, that Kirby Smart would come in with the best possible game plan that anyone could against this Texas team. I expected Georgia to come in and fight. I expected them to come in and keep it close. And whether or not that game plan meant they could win the game or just sort of hang around for a little bit, that was what we all wanted to see. I'll tell you what surprised me the most, and I'm quite proud that I took Georgia with Mr. Jeff Foxworthy on our show last week, went out on a limb, took the Bulldogs as underdogs,
yeah.
And my co-host Blaine Crane did as well. We're pretty proud of those picks. But I'll tell you what really did surprise me, not so much that Georgia won the football game, but that Georgia won the game with their offense playing bad. I mean, look, let's just be frank about it. Carson Beck did not play a good football game. I thought that he would at least need to play sort of a baseline average game in order for Georgia to win. That defense was so good. That game plan was so good with the disguised pressures and the disguised coverages, bluffing man, backing out to zone, causing Quinn Ewers to throw interceptions. That plan and the execution was so good by Georgia's defense that they were able to beat the number one team in the country on the road without their quarterback playing well and knocking Quinn Ewers from the game, not because of an injury like we've seen before, but because Steve Sarkisian had no other answer than to pull Quinn Ewers and put in Arch Manning. And just for reference, he was asked about this in the weeks before and leading up to the game, what would it take to go to Arch Manning over Quinn Ewers in the football game? And he said only an injury. Well, that wasn't the case, guys. And Quinn Ewers came out in the first quarter of that Oklahoma game after he came back from injury and looked shaky. Oklahoma was up 3-0. They got a sack on Quinn Ewers' first play of the game. But the other 3 quarters, Texas absolutely dominated Oklahoma. And then you come out against Georgia and you get pulled out of the game. And now you head to Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt isn't some get-me-over game like it used to be. We're going to be right here in Nashville ready to see Texas take on Vanderbilt. So how big of an issue is this? I think these next few weeks are going to be a big determining factor. And then for Georgia, as great as it was to go beat Texas, as great as it was to have that head-to-head before you play Tennessee and before you play Ole Miss, they still have a lot of questions to answer on the offensive side of the football. So everything, in my opinion, now has been reset in the SEC. Oh, and guess what? The top 2 teams, LSU and Texas A&M, they get to play each other this weekend. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Rank your top 4 in the SEC right now, David.
Well, look, I'm going to go with who's undefeated in the SEC right now. I have to go with LSU and with Texas A&M, and I can't believe I'm saying that with the way that LSU looked, not just losing to USC. That was a great game, a close football game. The win they had over South Carolina, that was one of the ugliest wins that I've seen of the season. So I can't wait for that one. They're at the top of the conference for a reason. And then, look, after that, I think you have to go with Georgia and with Tennessee. I know you guys are going to talk about Tennessee's win over Alabama. I still think Alabama is right in the conversation with things. They got a top 25 matchup this weekend hosting Missouri. I think that line is minus 13.5 for a reason. I think Alabama is better than Missouri. But, man, Alabama has a lot of things to clean up. I mean, what a fall from grace since the first half of that game against Georgia. Alabama's first half against Georgia, they looked perfect on both sides of the ball. Now, just keep that in mind. This same Georgia team that we're talking about just going into Austin and beating Texas, Alabama looked perfect against them in the first half. We know what happened in the second half, then they followed that up with a loss at Vanderbilt, followed that up with a really ugly win against South Carolina. Now they lost at Tennessee. It's been a rough few weeks. And to the Tennessee point, as ugly as it has looked there in the middle of the season, especially on offense, I think we have to start to say that Tennessee may have the best defense in the country. Now, how far have we come in just a few years under Josh Heupel that we're saying Tennessee could have the best defense in the country? And what does that mean? That means that you can win football games even when your offense can't be relied upon, even when you go on the road. Just keep in mind the last 3 national champions, fellas. Georgia twice and Michigan. 3 of the best defenses in the country the years that they won. So that defense is going to keep Tennessee in it, and because of that, I will put them in the top 4 right now since you asked me about it.
So that means Texas is 5?
Well, I mean, look, Texas, to me, the big thing for that is I don't think that beating Michigan was any sort of tall task. You guys are probably going to get to that. I don't think that beating Oklahoma right now was any big statement win. So we said, hey, the first time you're going to play a really great team a good team on both sides of the ball is Georgia. And what happened? It was so bad that you had to pull your starting quarterback out.
Got doubled up.
I think they're all right there in the mix. I think that when Texas and Texas A&M play, Texas will probably be favored. And as far as the top 4 question, I think one of them is going to play themselves out of that this weekend with LSU and Texas A&M. But, Texas, Tennessee right now, the way that Georgia just played Texas on defense, I have to think Tennessee would show up with a pretty great game plan against Texas right now. So I don't know. It's all going to play itself out, but I'm here for all of it.
It's time for A&M to win a big game at Kyle Field, isn't it?
We just talked about it an hour ago, actually. And what I said was, how fascinating is it that the year after you move on from Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino as your OC, that Texas A&M sits atop the SEC right now with a chance to beat LSU. And if you beat LSU, then you're going to play Auburn. You're going to play New Mexico State. You're going to play every other team you play. Is not only going to be winnable, but you'll probably be favored against until you host Texas at the end of the year. And can you imagine Texas A&M, and the only loss would be Notre Dame out of conference right then, a chance to host your biggest rival in a year where they enter your conference, the SEC, with a chance to go to the SEC championship, or maybe you've already locked in a place in the SEC championship by that point, and a chance to go to the college football playoff, or on the flip side of that, let's say you lose to LSU this weekend, you lose to Texas in the last game of the season, and you drop one of those ones in the middle, going on the road to Auburn. Look, Auburn's not a good football team, but going on the road in the SEC, we've seen anybody can beat you. And then all of a sudden, you're 8-4, which is the sort of the quintessential laughing meme that we've all said, oh, Texas A&M is a walking 8-4 every season. So I think this has massive implications this weekend. Some people around the country don't think the pressure is quite that high since Mike Elko's in his first year. I think it's high for Texas A&M because of what they could accomplish with a win this weekend. And then the same thing for LSU. Brian Kelly, already with a loss this year, but you're right there tied at the top of the conference. And year 3, a chance to go on the road, get a win at Kyle Field and College Station, and then you would have sole control of the SEC and a bye week before you host an Alabama team that already has 2 losses. Massive implications this weekend for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dave, you mentioned that Alabama and Missouri game, and for Missouri, they get the win over Auburn last weekend, but it was a comeback win for them, and it involved Brady Cook getting injured early in the game, an ankle injury. He leaves. We come to find out that he left the stadium, went to the hospital, then returned in the fourth quarter for Missouri to lead them to a victory. What did you think of Brady Cook getting checked out of the hospital, and then coming back to lead Missouri to that win?
Oh, well, he's such a gamer. That story doesn't surprise me at all. I think, 2 things right now, one for each program. Auburn is a very bad football team right now.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to say it like that. I'm shocked. I think it's my biggest disappointment so far this college football season. I thought that they were an 8-win team at the very least, and that's just how much faith I have in Hugh Freeze. And that was despite some of my reservations about him sticking with Peyton Thorne. Oklahoma State was my biggest disappointment a couple weeks ago, but at some point we have to have an honest conversation, and we had it on our show today, that Auburn could go 2-10 or 3-9. I don't know who had that projected, guys. That's bad. In Missouri, hey, great win for Missouri. I'm glad Brady Cook came back in the football game, and any win that you can get in the SEC should be applauded. At the same time, I look at the way that Texas A&M dismantled this team, and I look at how Auburn, we just said was a bad football team, was able to keep it close and really, honestly, should have won the game. That feels like a statement we say every week about Auburn. I don't think Missouri is great right now. I don't think Missouri is sort of what we were promised or what we were hoping for preseason. And hey, great. Hey, you have an awesome opportunity this weekend. Go beat Alabama like Tennessee and Vanderbilt has done, and sort of get some of that respect back from SEC fans and from football fans across the country. Right now, I don't see it. That line's 13.5 for a reason, and as poorly as Alabama has played and as undisciplined that they've looked on both sides of the football at times, I like Alabama big this weekend.
David, give me one from the SEC and one from the rest of national college football, kind of your lookout for teams for the rest of the year.
To make the college football playoff or win their conference or what?
To make a lot of because we hear so many we hear so many teams in the SEC. If they win out, if this team wins out, if Ole Miss wins out, if Tennessee wins out, if LSU wins out, who's your team you're on real lookout for in the SEC and nationwide?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. Just off the top of my head, we can run this experiment in real time here. Look, I think that, like I said, Texas A&M has a chance to do something that no one would have had them preseason predicted to do, which is, I think, to not just make the college football playoff in one of those at-large spots, but to possibly make the conference championship. Again, let's see this weekend. What happens? Do we get the Connor Wegman that looked really great against Missouri, or do we get a Connor Wegman who sort of, can't figure it out, struggles a little bit with this really tough LSU defense, and we look down and everyone laughs at us because they're like, hey, Texas A&M's 8-4, just like they should be. But no, if they can win this weekend, which they're going to have home field advantage against an LSU team that at times has looked very beatable this season, and certainly they lost the opener to USC, then that's got to be a surprise, right? Like, I don't know if any of you guys over there had Texas A&M making the college football playoff, but that's a very realistic expectation. Obviously, I love an opportunity to talk up BYU. You know, Iowa State, I'm not as surprised by Iowa State right now. I certainly didn't think that they would be the Big 12 champion. I still liked Utah and Kansas State and Oklahoma State, but with what Iowa State's been doing is very impressive. Even Colorado being able to win a lot of these close games, they're going to get a test at home against Cincinnati this week. But as far as surprises in that conference right now, you got to talk about what Rhett Flapp and BYU have been doing. It's truly incredible. And when you look at the rest of the schedule, look, it's quite favorable. You know, I mean, I think that they're going to be in a great position to be able to make their conference championship. And as we know, the winner of that game, you're an automatic qualifier. You're one of those first four byes in the college football playoff, which is certainly an overperformance of the 3-9 or 4-8 that I had BYU projected as. The Big Ten, like guys, I can't come on your show and not talk about Indiana. Are you kidding me? I mean, this job that Kirk Cignetti has done is truly incredible. And it's not just, you know, I get it that they haven't played great competition to this point, right? But that win over Nebraska, I mean, that's their best win, but the way that they did it, they look so competent in every area of football right now. They look so balanced. They may be one of the most balanced teams in the country. They throw it well. They catch it well. They run it well. They tackle in the open field well. They're disciplined. I'm so impressed with this Indiana team. And don't be surprised if they go 11-1 because they're going to be favored in almost every game they play for the rest of the season, except against the Buckeyes. And you best believe if Indiana goes 11-1, even if they're not in the Big Ten championship game, they're going to make the college football playoff. And then for the ACC, look, I mean, I think that we're headed for Clemson and Miami in the conference championship game. At least I hope we're headed for that because they don't play in the regular season, and that's a matchup that we deserve. But you're talking about surprises. I have to say, SMU hanging around. It's only one loss right now. It didn't look good early in the season. I have to say, if SMU makes the ACC championship game, guys, my co-host Jake Crane on this show and on social media is going to be insufferable because I don't know another person in the country who picked SMU to make the ACC championship except for Jake Crane. And he was catching a lot of flack early in the season when they looked like a terrible football team. And look at them now; they're absolutely rolling. So, how that conference championship plays out in the ACC with Miami and Clemson and SMU, that's going to be very interesting.
That's my national team. If I can kind of take a little bit of a powder on it, give me the winner of SMU Duke this weekend, and look out for one of them to maybe make the college football playoff.
I like that.
I'm curious, David, speaking of the ACC, I mean, you look over there, you just mentioned SMU. I mean, Brett just mentioned Duke. Maybe look out if they can get something going this weekend with a win over SMU. But you look at that conference right now, 4 teams ranked, one of them being, Pitt, who had Pitt being undefeated 6 games into the season. How many teams realistically do you think can make the playoffs out of the ACC?
Well, yeah, and a big shout-out to Pitt, too. I'm so glad you brought them up. I certainly don't want to overlook them, and I'm really excited for their matchup. They get to host Syracuse this week. So my apology to Pitt fans right there for not bringing them up. That game's been on my mind a lot this week because I think that's another opportunity where not only will they have to have an opportunity to showcase themselves against a good Syracuse team, guy, what Kyle McCord's been doing over there, that's a good Syracuse team, but they'll get a chance to do it not bogged down on a Saturday slate and buried underneath some other games. They'll get a chance to really have a statement win there in front of everybody. Did you ask me how many teams can realistically make the college football playoff from the ACC right now?
Correct.
I think that a lot of this hinges on Notre Dame. Does Notre Dame make the playoff? And then honestly, it's sort of a jigsaw puzzle, right, with the rest of the conferences. How many of the teams that don't make the SEC or the Big Ten championship game, how many of them are 10-2, right? And then the team that loses those 2 conference championships, how many of those are picking up a third loss when they do it? And then, obviously, what happens in the Big 12 with the scenario that I just mentioned? I mean, is BYU legitimately going to go undefeated and en route to their conference championship game and then either win it or lose it? And then if they lose it, who beats them? Is that a 2-loss team? Is that a 1-loss team? I still find it hard to believe that the ACC would get 3 teams in. I still think it's 2 right now, max. But especially if that's Miami and if that's Miami and Clemson and one of them is losing for the first time, let's say Clemson wins out and wins the ACC and beats Miami, and their only loss was to Georgia, and they kept it close in the first half, kind of got ugly in the second half, and then Miami's only loss is to Clemson. Like, both of those teams are going to make the college football playoff, and that's even with Notre Dame making it. And then, obviously, if Notre Dame's only loss is to Northern Illinois, as embarrassing as that is, and as much as we all, including myself, made fun of them that Sunday after, you know, if you win out and you're beating teams like Army and Navy, if you beat Army and Navy both right now, who are both undefeated, and you will have had a win over Louisville and Georgia Tech, and that would mean USC at the end of the year, then you can best believe you can pencil Notre Dame in. And although they're not an ACC team, it's so funny to me how they're quasi-ACC when they need to be.
When they need to be,
Yeah, when they need to be, when it's helpful during COVID years and all that. But I still would say 2 right now from the ACC. But, man, Pitt and SMU could really make that complicated.
Yeah, they absolutely could. Another team that has been impressive to watch this year has been Illinois. They get another win. Unfortunately, it was against your Michigan Wolverines. But I have to bring that game up because I'm curious your thoughts on this Illinois team. But also, I need a ranking. I need something about those uniforms that Illinois wore on Saturday. I like the idea. I thought, like where their head's at. Didn't think the execution was that great.
Yeah, I think you're in the same camp as who was it? Was it my dad? It was either my dad or someone that I was watching the game with. I have several Illinois neighbors, which has made the week not so fun for me. Look, I have to be honest. I personally love the uniforms. The old school throwback nod to the leather helmets I thought was pretty elite. Yeah. Now the rest of the uniform, maybe it wasn't that great, but the helmets were nice, the helmet for sure was top notch. And I love anytime that there is a nod and an honoring of old school football and a respect for the history of the game. That I really love. And that was sort of a centennial celebration with 100 years ago, the opening of that stadium and everything. But hats off to Illinois for a great win. You guys know how much respect I have for Coach Brett Bielema and everything that Luke Altmaier has been able to do since he transferred to Ole Miss. I mean, he just looks like he came out of the Ole Miss quarterback tree, doesn't he? He's running around out there making plays. I'm thinking that's Matt Corral, that's Jackson Dart, and he just set Illinois up for positions to win the game time and time again. So all credit to them. On the flip side of that, Michigan is a bad football team right now, and I can't believe I'm saying that with how many great players they have on both sides of the football. Granted, they've had a couple injuries here or there, but it's college football. Everybody's dealing with injuries. Sure. Michigan does not look good. They don't look well coached in a lot of areas. And the quarterback can take all the blame if you want. Certainly, look, I got to play on some really great Michigan football teams that were number 2 in the country. I got to play on some really bad football teams when Rich Rodriguez came in, and certainly the quarterbacks, we took a good bit of the blame during those eras. So I've lived through this. No one feels worse than the players and the coaches and the staff members. If you think you care as a fan out there, imagine being in that building when you're not living up to expectations as a football team. So I know exactly how they're feeling. I know what's going on. But they are not a good football team right now, and what a great opportunity to turn it around with Michigan State and Sparty coming to town in the Big House. Because I'll tell you what, boys, Michigan, if they lose this game to Michigan State, who is also not very good but coming in with a ton of confidence with their best win over Iowa just happening, things are going to get really ugly if you lose to Michigan State. And there's going to be, I think you're going to see a lot of players start to pack it in because they know that they're bound for the NFL. So I think Michigan has a great opportunity to show a lot of pride here and take care of your biggest in-state rival. You're not making the college football playoff. You're not going to repeat as national champions. You're not going to win the Big Ten championship. Everything right now is about pride, beating your in-state rival, and then move on, take it week by week, and do everything you can to set up for at least a palatable season so that you can continue to recruit well, which is one thing that Sharon Moore is doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's going to be fun to see what they can do because I think you're right. That would be definitely a big one. Then you look at the games after that, at Rutgers, at Northwestern, very winnable games. And you can, that's Illinois' schedule. But, you can definitely put something together. But as always, David, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next week.
Thanks a lot, fellas.
Thank you, David.
David Cohn joining us, and interesting what y'all both said. And, Brett, especially you, this Duke SMU game. Look out.
Look out and look out for the unthinkable 2 bids for the SEC.
Whoa. Brett, I don't even know if I can fathom that.
What if it happened?
Whew.
Everybody's not winning out. I hear all these winning out scenarios in the SEC, and I don't mean this ugly, but how's Ole Miss going to block Georgia when you couldn't block Kentucky?
Yeah. That's a good point. It's a good point. That would be insane. That'd be insane.
So there goes the win out. I don't think A&M wins out. Would shock me if A&M won this week against LSU and lost next week at Columbia against South Carolina.
Yeah.
And then they still have Texas. So there's one that's not winning out. Tennessee's going to lose to Georgia.
Yeah.
But that could still keep them in the college football playoff pool.
Oh man, I love this.
Mizzou this week to Alabama.
Love this. I mean, the fact that we're, almost done with October and there's so much unknown still out there. It's fantastic.
Right. If not 2, then 3, and everybody thought 4 this year.
100%. 100%. So it's going to be fun to keep up with the bracket, what it looks like, who can make it, who could be left out. But let's get to a break. Before we do that, let me remind you about our friends over at Wilson's Pro Wash. Do me a favor. Picture your home beautifully clean and pristine. Does that seem impossible to you? Well, not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Their Gentle Touch Pro Wash will restore your house, fence, driveway, commercial building, and more to their very best. Wilson specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, from concrete to stone, brick to mortar, even wood to vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal your surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Wilson's Pro Wash, clean is their mission. They'll wash away everything but your sins. So give them a call at 901-524-6799. That's 901-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com. Let's get to another break, and when we come back, old Joey Brackets, he put out another bracketology as we're only a couple weeks away from the college basketball season. We'll take a look at that, see where he has the Tigers, and see where he has some of the other regional teams in his latest bracketology. We'll do that next on Sportstime.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
It's here, Genesis Diamond's largest ever sale on luxury pre-owned. You can't miss this special 2-day event this Friday and Saturday. During this event, you can take advantage of special pricing, so you won't just financing on a stunning selection of luxury pre-owned timepieces. Hundreds of Musk, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsi, hottest model Rolex watches that you can't find anywhere else. Our luxury pre-owned Rolexes are in pristine, like new condition, some just out of the box. All price to sell this event. This event, to purchase a luxury pre-owned Rolex, visit Genesis Weekend to Diamond Stadium is free. That's a $3,000 value. Visit our Rolex owners. Pre-owned Rolex buyers will be on site for the top dollar for the year. Samsung, the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state. Take advantage of special financing. Get a pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings free. It's this Friday and Saturday only, and only at Genesis Diamonds. Poplar and Perkins Extended.
In the year in style during the Mitsubishi Motors year-end sales event at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Take your pick from 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV with 420 total range or 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Now $349 a month. That's Outlander PHEV or Outlander Sport. Your choice, $349 a month. And get ready to slip into something more comfortable with your 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander. Only $31,700 or $499 a month. Plus, every Gossett Mitsubishi comes with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi today and end your year with savings at 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
RZO 67244, MSRP 42750 Sport, RUO 18037, MSRP 28115, Outlander RZO 67690, MSRP 332. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Hi, this is Dave Wiloshin. Tune into my show Wednesday, October the 23rd. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to donate most of the show to talk about Alzheimer's. The annual Walk to End Alzheimer's is coming up Saturday, October the 26th at Shelby Farms, and we're going to try to raise a little extra money for the cause. We'll be selling a Penny Hardaway autographed basketball, a Ryan Silverfield autographed football, tickets to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and many other great items. Please tune in and help us raise money for Alzheimer's Wednesday, October 23rd. Thank you.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
On 40 eastbound, just before you get up to Jackson, it's had traffic slow now coming from Danny Thomas going 40 eastbound here at the Midtown interchange. What a mess. Traffic's on the increase now on 240 as you get on to 385 Billmore Parkway going outbound back out towards Collierville. Weimer's Jewelry 7525 Highway 64 is your full service family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Wilson's Pro Wash, your residential and commercial pressure washing service you can trust. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
I'm back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and starting to feel like fall. You know, it's getting cooler outside, and you can hear that little whistle in the air of Joe Lenardi bracketology. Man, this guy doesn't sleep. He doesn't miss a beat. This he put out yesterday at 8 a.m. in the morning, up and at it early. So let's see. Where does he have the Tigers? I know he has them.
Loan bid from the AAC.
Okay, loan bid as the ACC. I believe I saw it earlier on the 10 line going up against Kentucky in the first round. He has Kentucky, I guess, dropping a little bit. They've got the arrow going down. He has Kentucky.
They lose?
As I don't know what happened to them. I think Kentucky's a pretty good team. I don't know what's happened.
I missed the loss.
In the last month or so that's made them go down, but he has them as a 7 seed, Memphis versus Kentucky. Obviously, that wouldn't have as much flair now with John Calipari not as the head coach of Kentucky than it would have had. But Memphis versus Kentucky, if they were to win that game, it would be a rematch with our old buddies at UConn.
Yeah, Tigers know they're playing UConn here in a few weeks. And look at the neighborhood now. I like what he does with this on the one bid leagues. He goes with kind of the powerful team, like Little Rock winning the OVC, Arkansas State. You see on the bracket, and then you see a lot of SEC. And so forth. But for the Tigers, the one bid. I ask this question, Brian. I don't ask it to be that guy. I don't ask it. I promise you. I'm not asking it to be ugly.
Okay.
Is the AAC a mid-major?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The conference as a whole, yeah, absolutely.
That's one bid league then.
Yes.
Got 2 last year.
Yes.
But there are other mid majors that get 2 bids.
Sure, 100%. That happens all the time. I mean, I would even say.
I don't know what the financial offer was for
Sure.
the newfangled pack.
Mhm.
Obviously, it wasn't good enough for a very smart person like Dr. Ed
Sure.
Scott not to accept the deal. I'm going to trust him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do. But boy, the idea of the Tigers in a mid-major basketball league, and it felt like it was last year.
Sure, yeah, and I think this is right. It's probably going to be a one bid league. And it would take something weird like kind of last year happened for it to be a 2 bid league. I mean, it would take something like the Tigers having a good season and being locked
Being
in at a spot
17-1
exactly, and then they lose in the conference tournament or something, and someone
Kinda
else
like
sneaks
Houston
in.
was.
Sure, and so but yeah, it feels like a 1 bid league this year, and the Tigers should be that 1 bid this season.
It should be. A lot of Tiger official tip times, if not most, are now out.
Yep.
We know with the American AAC, with the American Athletic Conference, those dates were out. But here are the November dates. The opening night, November 4th, the Memphis Tigers against the Missouri Tigers, 7 o'clock tip. At UNLV on Saturday the 19th, 5 o'clock Memphis time. All these times are Memphis times.
Yep.
No time yet for Memphis hosting Ohio. On the way to Hawaii, when they play San Francisco, it is listed at 9 p.m.
Okay, all right.
Are you seeing that as well?
Yes, I am.
We've known 1:30 for UConn, and I haven't looked to see what time, winner or loser,
Sure.
whatever side of the bracket they fall in. Then in December, Louisiana Tech, to be determined. Arkansas State on a Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. game, December 8th. The game at Clemson on a Saturday morning, and it will be distinctly Saturday morning, Memphis time, 10 a.m. on ESPN2.
That's an early one.
Virginia on Wednesday night, December 18th, 6 p.m. Mississippi State, Saturday, the 21st of December, 11:30 a.m. Ole Miss the following Saturday, 1 p.m. You go through the Tiger schedule. This is hard to believe because this used to be the staple at the Coliseum, at the Pyramid, and even at FedEx Forum. The famous 1 versus 2 game was long scheduled. It wasn't moved for TV to Saturday night. The Memphis Tigers do not play a Saturday night home game all year.
Wow, I did not even realize
All year.
that. That's crazy. Wow.
That used to be the time. I mean, that was the thing.
Sure.
It was like a protein.
Yeah.
To go to the Coliseum on a Saturday night to see the Tigers play, there's not a single
Holy cow.
Saturday night home game all year.
Wow.
Very few Saturday games.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I was just looking at that. That's hard to believe. Wow, I didn't even realize that, but you're absolutely right.
I was looking at that this morning.
Wow.
I'm going through it again, going, this can't be right.
can't
It
be
is
right.
right. It
Wow.
is right.
That's crazy.
The last game of the year is not Saturday night, not Saturday. It's Friday night
How's
against
that?
South Florida at FedEx Forum.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Wow. Huh. Okay. Yeah, that kind of took me off for a second.
Me too. We were going to talk bracketology. Can
Sure.
you believe Alabama is out there as a 1 seed?
Crazy.
And with all the expectations and coming off a Final Four in basketball.
It's insane, Brett. I mean, what the expectations for them, what people think they are going to do this year. Heck, earlier today I was filling in for Johnny Radio today, and he had David Cobb on today, and I asked him about obviously Memphis and Alabama Monday night, a little exhibition game. We'll talk to David. I'm sure talk more about this with him Monday when he joins us. But I asked him, what do you think about this Alabama team going into the year? He told me, I think they were snubbed the number 1 overall team ranking in the AP poll. He goes, I would have put them ahead of Kentucky 10 times. And he says they've got the best player in the country. They've got some really good players, but it's going to be what And we talk about it all the time with Nate Oates teams. They're going to live and die by that 3 ball. I mean, you look at their first exhibition that they had against Wake Forest, and, they shot 1,000,000 threes, and Neary made 20 threes in that game. So, they're going to be shooting a high volume of threes, and I'm sure a lot of nights that'll work. They've got the guys to shoot them, but some nights it's not going to work, and I'm curious how this team responds when the shots aren't falling early. But, yeah, it is weird to see Alabama ranked so high in a poll and realize it's not football.
And I was very critical of Nate Oates about that. I don't think that's coaching strategy of, well, if threes drop, we're good.
Sure.
If they don't, I'm sorry. Come back next time.
Yeah.
I think you have to have a plan B.
Sure.
But he went to a Final Four,
That's
and
right.
he's bracketology 1 seed.
That's
You
right.
got Alabama basketball where they've never been.
Yeah, and so we'll see if he can do it again this year. And I really like this roster he has. I'm excited to see what they look like Monday against the Tigers. I've been meaning to go and watch their first exhibition against Wake Forest. I was working the Christian Brothers game while that exhibition was taking place, so I didn't get to see it. But, this roster looks like a roster that, should be able to be in that conversation for the number 1 seed.
It does. SEC, according to Joe Brackett's 10 bids, with Big 10, 10, Big 12, 9, ACC 6, Big East 5, WCC 2, A10 2, everybody else 1 bid leagues.
Wow. Yeah, and so, looking at some of those regional SEC teams that are close to us, Arkansas, a 6 seed. He has them in Raleigh playing the winner of the 11-game Rutgers and Miami. He's got Ole Miss as a 10 seed going up against Michigan State. Brett, maybe you have some more information for us about what Ole Miss did to drop in Joe Lunardi's bracketology.
I'm sorry, I have none.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. Something must
not
have
great
happened.
radio, is it?
I know, but hey, obviously Lunardi knows something we don't know. Texas A&M, he has them a 4 seed after what they did last year. A really, really good season for them a year ago. Texas
I say
is a
big
5
year
seed.
for Buzz Williams.
I think so too. I like this team he's got coming in.
No, I mean, if it doesn't work out well, maybe goodbye.
Oh, I see. A big year for
An AD that didn't hire him.
Wow, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. This could be a make or break year for him. And then he's got Tennessee as a 3 seed going up against Samford in their first game.
The
Big
4
matchup.
ones right now: Kansas, Duke, Alabama, and Houston. I have no quibble with that.
Yeah, it's pretty strong. Those are some good teams. Yeah, I can't
say
argue with it.
I say my lookout college basketball team. I asked David Cohn
I love this.
that question about football. Look out for BYU.
I think that's a good one. I really like this BYU roster this year. They should be good.
And in the SEC, I do think Ole Miss can be really good, but we bought the summertime hype too, didn't
Sure.
we?
Well, we did, and we'll see. I saw CBS Sports did their top 25 and 1 coaches, and Chris Beard
I saw that.
reappearing
26,
on it
the and one.
at the and 1. Yeah,
There aren't 25 coaches better than him.
No, there's not, and I think
But
this will be a
he's
big
gotta win.
year to prove that.
Chevy truck season sale going on right now at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. You go down Highway 78, first exit into Mississippi is Kraft Goodman Road, and you're there at All-Star Chevrolet where financing is low as 0%. It's now available on all the new 24 Silverados, no payment till 2025. Your Silverado can be payment-free through Christmas and the new year until next year. Your good credit deserves it. You get it at All-Star Chevrolet. It's where all the new Chevy Silverados are and the Tahoes. Incentives at All-Star on the new Equinox. You can get your price down in the low 30s, even the 20s. If you're law enforcement, recent grad, educator, military, first responder, healthcare worker, instant $500 bonus back. Come check out the huge, and I'm talking huge, All-Star pre-owned section with every make, every model you can imagine. Silverados, Jeeps, Toyota, Nissan, Ford SUV. Looks like every pre-owned you can think of is on the lot at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, because it is. If you got any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star. You'll get the most money for it. Even if you didn't buy it there, they will give you the best deal on your trade. Together, let's drive to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. Don't miss the final Chevy truck season sale right now at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com.
Well, let's get to a break, and when we come back, it will be time for Big Number of the Day.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal your surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 901-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Spencer here with ATC Fitness. There's no better time of the year than now. Football and fitness go hand in hand in the fall. And with individual screens on each piece of cardio and multiple big screens throughout the rest of the club, you'll never miss a bit of the action watching your favorite team. ATC Fitness continues to be the Mid-South's choice for fitness, family-owned for 30 years, and proud supporters of Coach Silverfield and the Memphis Tigers. Join online at atcfitness.com. ATC Fitness. Exercise your right to look good.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant, objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 Cordova, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-sized courts, 3 high school-sized courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis, now in Cordova and Collierville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking the bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now, back to Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
All right, Brett, my big number comes from the NBA and from one of the games last night. My big number is the number 3. In the last 40 years, there have been 3 instances of an NBA player having at least 30 points, 15 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks in a season opener. So last 40 years, player at least having 30 points, 15 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks in a season opener. It's only happened 3 times. Those 3 times were Anthony Davis in the 2016-2017 season opener, Anthony Davis in the 2018-19 season opener, and then last night, Anthony Davis in the 2024-25 season opener. Anthony Davis was fantastic in that game last night, especially down the stretch. They even took LeBron out late in that game, just let AD work, and he was able to do enough to keep the Lakers in the lead and secure that victory. A great game for him and an incredible nugget from OptaStats.
That is a good number. My big number is 24. I always do it on opening night. 24 years of grit, grind, Jay Will, Powell, Mark, Mike, Lorenzen Wright, Don Poirier, Super Grizz, Tony Allen, Zebo, my friend Ron Tillery, James Posey, Jaron, Desmond, Ja. I can't imagine the sports scene in Memphis now without the Grizzlies. Thank goodness for the Grizzlies. Highs, lows, we get aggravated, we get plenty exhilarated by it. And for a long time, Brian, I always said my favorite night of ever going to a Grizzlies game was that first night that they're here.
Yeah.
Memphis on the front of a major league team. We'd had professional sports, but we'd never had a major league team. And now for people like you, it's second. It happens. I mean, you're used to it.
Oh, yeah.
It's all you know. And I knew it would get to that point. Now, 24 years later, it has lifelong diehard fans, Grizzlies first fans. And that's what we want.
Yeah.
We wanted to build that. I know our area is very much a melting pot, but I do feel like it comes together that not everybody, but most of all the split loyalties for everything else comes together to pull for the Grizzlies.
No, 100%. I mean, your number was 24. I mean, I am 24 years old. My entire life, the Grizzlies have been here.
It's all you know.
And exactly. And so all my friends, I mean, they are, for the most part, whether they're Memphis football fans, Ole Miss fans, Tennessee fans, they're all Grizzly fans. I mean, my friends, all the people I grew up with, all they've known growing up is Grizzly basketball. And so, growing up with the core 4 and those guys and what they did, I mean, it is developed into some big time fandom and big time fans, and it's really cool to see.
You didn't have to go through all those years of just being toyed and played with and strung along by the NFL that if we bought tickets to this lame preseason game. We're going to give you a team. They've never given us a team. And all the season ticket drives and the telethon to sell tickets and even NBA exhibition games. We used to get those at the Pyramid one thing the NBA didn't do. They never sold it as you got to buy tickets. We may give you a team or we may move somebody there. And the Pursuit team, what they did, I should have mentioned them in all the years, what they did, but also what David Stern did. He went with Mike Heisley. They wanted a team in SEC country, in the football South, and they wanted it to work. I say 24 years later,
100%.
It's worked.
It absolutely has worked, and obviously a lot of excitement for this year's team, and getting everybody back after last year with all the injuries, and now you don't have to worry about that. A team that enters the season relatively healthy. Obviously, a couple guys going to miss the start of the season. A couple guys missing tonight that should be back by the end of the week or shortly after. But to have Ja Morant run out there on opening night, Desmond Bain, to see Zach Edey and have this excitement for a rookie big man. I mean, it's going to be fun tonight, and certainly next week when they return to Memphis.
And I want to win tonight. I want to win every night. But just think what a win tonight and a win Friday night. 2-0 Grizzlies come. And if they not, it's still going to be special Saturday night. But start building some momentum and really getting in the rearview mirror last year.
Yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun. Hard to believe. I was saying next week like it was Monday. It's already Wednesday. Saturday's not far from now when they'll be making that home debut here in Memphis. But it is going to be fun tonight. And speaking of the Grizzlies, let's go ahead and get to a break, because when we come back, we're going to talk a whole lot of Grizzlies. Rob Fisher from FanDuel Sports Network, also with Grind City Media. He's going to join us from Utah's really only a couple hours away from especially them getting their pregame show started as the season's almost here. We'll talk about what he saw in the preseason, what he expects this Grizzlies team to do tonight and this regular season. We'll do all of that next.
Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 Kirby Whitten Road in Bartlett. Pickup, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. Eats with the Z. Good food fast.
Simple, smooth, and every sip is easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
At Progressive, we know there's a lot of things you can track. Steps, calories, heart rate, your pet steps, screen time, the whereabouts of your favorite celebrity, how long you slept, how long you didn't sleep, how long you thought about sleeping, how long you thought about sleeping. But none of these things could save you money, unlike Snapshot from Progressive, which customizes your rate based on how and how much you drive. It's much better for your bottom line than tracking your Cocker Spaniel's resting heart rate. So download the Progressive app today.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday, it's happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft beers, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel bites, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Then enjoy Friday night lights from 7 to close. Dine in and buy 12 wings and
and Grill is connected with Highway 70 Falls Football.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York. But many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 per person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. MPD's had a time trying to clean up this crash from earlier where a car flipped here in the Midtown area. 40 East, before you get up to Jackson, that really slowed it down there in the Midtown area, near the Midtown interchange. On 40 going eastbound before Jackson, it's heavy now. On 240 as you get on to 385 Billmore's Parkway going outbound. Watching it crank up over here on 40 East from Sycamore View Road all the way out to Germantown Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64, is your full service family owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Memphis' original sports station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Dacus.
Say you stand by your man.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our third and final hour. And joining us now on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line, Rob Fisher from FanDuel Sports Network, also Grind City Media. He joins us from Utah to talk some Grizzlies. Rob, thanks so much for joining us. Opening day for the Grizzlies and for the Jazz. How are the vibes? What are the vibes like out there as we're only a couple hours away from showtime?
Good. I've been seeing a lot of people walking through the hotel, and I think the sentiment seems to be the same from everybody. Let's go play. Let's go play somebody for real. I think in all sports, when you get through a training camp and preseason, you're just ready to play somebody for real when the game actually matters. And I think that's where both teams probably are tonight. I know it just from talking to some of the Grizzlies people that's where they are, and I would imagine the Jazz feel the same way. Let's go get it underway for real. And so it's an exciting night, and I think that, with what's expected for the Grizzlies this season makes it exciting because you can't win them all until you win the first one.
That's right.
82-0.
That's right.
It'll be the win of the year.
Are you ready for that?
I am ready for that. I'm going to text you late tonight, win of the year, no matter what. Rob,
it'll be something of the year tonight already.
That's right. I also mark this time every year at Grizzlies opening with also it brought you to this market in year two. This is 23 years. You came right on the eve of the second year. This starts your 18th year with the Grizzlies on their broadcast team. That's hard to believe. But, Rob, as a very dear friend, and you're such an accomplished broadcaster and great guy in what y'all have done, I applaud you, and you made this marketplace better.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I like to think it's all me, but it's not. it's our whole group, and we're very lucky. You know, Pete's starting, I think, year 22. You got Brevin starting year 15. Me starting year 18. So, I mean, we've all been together for 15 years now, and, you know, it just makes it a lot of fun to work, and, you know, we get along so well, and, you know, starting another year of being together and being that family that we talk about for the next 6 months. And, you know, we're looking forward to it. I think we enjoy coming to work so much that I think it reflects on the air, and it's, but it's something that's certainly genuine, that we enjoy it. We enjoy being together.
The attachment that you can feel, it is palpable. It's real around town that people feel the connection with y'all. You know, it was said that even after they broke up and they said they weren't getting back together till hell froze over with the Eagles, that they all rode to every concert in separate limos. They hated each other. And I don't know how you could exist as much as y'all are around each other and be like that.
Yeah, and you hear a lot of stories from around the league of places that are like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, you know, control and power and struggles and things like that really bring people down. And then just, you know, you have some people who just aren't happy doing this job, which, I mean, you know, you guys know in stats, I used to tell you all the time, you know, my goal when working in radio was just when I'm done to be happy with what we did. And,
exactly.
And to feel like you did a good job and feel like you had fun and you made the listeners have fun. And I think that's how we approach it with the Grizzlies too. You know, have fun, but be informative, but just make sure the people that are watching are entertained. And I think we've done a really good job of that. And it's, you know, it's amazing when things like come out on Twitter that say, you know, FanDuel has announced the broadcast team and it had our picture, and just the reaction from the fans of, you know, glad that you're back together, can't wait to see you guys. Or when was a national TV game and we don't do the game, that's usually our best game because we hear so much from the people missing us on those nights. So it's amazing the reaction that we get, and it's very, you know, it keeps you humbled, and it keeps you working hard, and it keeps you enjoying what you're doing because, you know, other people are enjoying the job that you're doing. So you take great pride in that, and I think all of us do.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it now, the FanDuel Sports Network.
The new mic flag.
I mean, Rob, nobody more qualified to be a part of the FanDuel Sports Network than you.
Right? Right? I think that's why it happened.
I do too. I know it is.
You know, come get the professional handicapper. Let's sponsor that.
I love it.
I think that's how it all fell into working out for FanDuel. But no, we're excited about it, and you know, we've had a segment in the pregame show for the last couple of years, brought to you by FanDuel, and we'll continue to do that. And some things in the game that'll be a little bit different, but you know, everything's going to be the same except red is gone. The red's gone, and now it's the blue. The blue is back, which is great. I thought it was great when we had the Fox, when we were Fox Sports and had the blue mic flags, and now getting FanDuel and having the blue mic flags that seem to match a lot of my outfits. So works out for me really well.
It matters, yeah. That's big.
All right, take us inside. How many different options for outfits on the first two roadies?
Oh, man.
Well, in October, I always like to wear pink for the month. So,
yeah,
I still have a couple more pink.
And your
left
favorite
to go.
artist.
And my favorite artist, Pink, of course, in honor of her too. But so I got a couple of pink options, but got a good like a bluish, almost royal blue suit tonight with some great shoes that were brand new last year, so I haven't worn those very often. And, I know the people in Salt Lake City, there's a security guard who works right by the tunnel where the Grizzlies come out who is already anticipating what I'm going to be wearing tonight, so I have to come strong for him. And then we have a pink shirt tonight. Tomorrow or on Friday we got a tie that's got a little pink in it, with some socks that got some pink in it, with some teal shoes. So we're stepping it up from preseason tonight with the outfit, but not showing everything. Kind of waiting till Saturday to really come on the scene.
Yeah.
And I have begged for years, Rob. I think you could pull it off. I think the whole crew could. Not just tuxedos for opening night, but white dinner jackets.
Ooh. Like that.
Do you think you could talk Brevin into a white dinner jacket?
I think so. Next year's a big 25 anniversary. So maybe next year for the 25-year anniversary, we should start thinking ahead and start working on that. Get us some tuxedos with the white dinner jackets. That's the important part.
Like
I think
Bond.
we could do that.
I like it.
Yeah, I think we'd look great.
I think so.
And so maybe for the 25th anniversary of the team.
I'm looking at the schedule, and you don't go to Madison Square Garden until January 27th, and then the Knickerbockers come back here on Friday night, the 28th of February. So the Soyuz and the Apollo, you and Clyde Frazier, y'all don't hook up until the new calendar year.
Yeah, plenty of time to kind of figure out what we're going to do for that game because both Clyde and I put very much thought into what we're going to wear when we see each other. So that's always an enjoyable night and a fun night to see him. But, yeah, man, all these nights are good. You know, get to see all those, like that security guard here in Salt Lake City, get to see him tonight and get to see a couple of other people here and then go to Houston and see those people. It's fun to travel around the league and see, you know, these people that you haven't seen all off season, but you remember when the season begins. And even those people that you see maybe once or twice a year and how they remember you and you remember them. And, you know, those are the really fun moments when the season gets underway. It's just seeing the people.
Yeah. I'll be honest, Rob, it's got to be tough. I mean, opening night and you already have expectations by a security guard. I mean, you don't even get a warm-up or anything. It's just game one.
But he exceeded it.
That's right.
Not only did he match it, Brian.
Right.
I mean, he went full Bob Beamon with a new world record.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, no, he'll be all right tonight. It was last week when we were in Indianapolis. They have a security guard there who works at the dining room, and he's unbelievable because he remembers everybody's name.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I don't know if he's looking at media guides before you come into town or what, but you know, I go walking down the hall. He's like, "Rob, how you doing? Boy, I expected a little bit more out of your outfit." I was like, "It's preseason."
No. Come on,
wow.
man.
Jeez, that's tough.
All right,
Yeah,
Rob,
so
do
the
you want to weigh
expectations are pretty
in?
high. I'll have to raise it up a little bit when we go to Indianapolis in the regular season. Yeah.
All right, right there with expectation. Do you want to weigh in on season win totals and seeding and all that stuff, or you want to leave that for us at 5:30?
Well, I mean, what's the total in Vegas?
47.5.
I'd take the over.
I
don't know if I'd give a specific win total, but I think the over. I think over 47.5. I mean, this is a team that got over 50 in the 2 years prior to last year. I think there's no reason to think that they couldn't get to that point because I do expect them to contend for one of the top spots in the Western Conference, one of the top four for sure. And I think 48 wins is about where you need to be if you're going to be there, probably even a couple more. So, I'll go with the over of that Las Vegas win total. And my expectation is to finish in the top four, whatever that win total needs to be. That's kind of where I'm at. And, you know, I see no reason why this team can't do that.
Yeah. I know a lot of people will be watching the rookie Zach Edey tonight in his first regular season game for the Grizzlies. What did you see from him throughout camp, throughout the preseason games, and what do you expect to see from him, especially early in these regular season games?
Yeah, I expect more of the same. I mean, I think we saw in the preseason what we hope to see in the regular season, just being a big presence. Mm-hmm. Out on the floor, and I think we saw that in the regular season. He had that big game in Indiana where he had 23 and 9. That was his best game in the preseason. He had his first game as a pro here in Salt Lake City in the summer league where he went for 14 and 15 in that game. So I think he's just shown his ability to have big numbers, but he doesn't have to have big numbers, if that makes sense. I mean, in a couple of the other preseason games, he had a big impact without putting up big numbers.
but then he has a 21-13. He has a 15-14. You know, he has those type of games that are huge. So I just expect more of the same. I think what we saw in Summer League, what we've seen in the preseason, is exactly what we're going to see in the regular season. I don't think Zach Edey really changes much. I think he just likes the ball, and he's going to come out and I think do what he does. That's play big and play, you know, with some pick and roll situations, but mainly just protecting the basket and keeping balls alive and catching passes from Ja, throwing them down. I mean, I just think with Ja Morant out there as well, it's going to make him such an impactful player on the offensive end, maybe even more so than we ever thought when he was drafted. So I expect big things from Zach Edey, you know, and I hate putting. I'm glad I expect big things from Zach Edey because all off season, since the draft, we've kind of just put that pressure on him that he's going to be great. Mm-hmm. We've kind of we've said he should win Rookie of the Year because of the role that he's going to have on this team. Zach Edey's doing this. The Grizzlies are going to win 50, and we just kind of think he's going to just fit seamlessly into what we do. But so far, he has. So maybe those big expectations we've kind of put on him from the beginning are right, and I think they have been so far.
The team talking about playing at a faster pace, a lot more offensive with the staff changes underneath Coach Taylor Jenkins this year. What do you think the old saying is? We used to say race to 100. What is it a race to now to guarantee victory?
Wow. Well, I know the Grizzlies last year, again, what can you take from last year? But if they got to 110, they were very successful. I would say, I think if you get to 120, that should be where you should dominate. You know, your record should be
that should get
incredible.
You a lot.
Yeah. But I would say 110, race to 110. 110, I think, will win you a lot of games. 120, I think you'll win most of them. Mm-hmm. But 110, I think, is a good number, race to 110. This is a Grizzlies team that averaged 105 last year. We know that's not enough. But 110, 115, that's got to be the mark that you got to shoot for, I think, every night. And, we saw the Grizzlies being able to score that many points in the preseason. They did turn the ball over a lot more, and they gave up some points, too. So, I think it's changed, man. Yeah, first to 100 wins, not so much anymore. It's got to be at least 110.
Yeah, 100 doesn't get you anything. Now, at playoff time, and even into last days of the year, but certainly at playoff time, I think it's like in football, defense and running the ball, it goes a long way. At playoff time, a little more defense, but in the regular season, you don't want to be accused of being they're built for the regular season. But you're right around that 115, 117, up to 120 mark. I think it correlates to 50-plus wins.
Yeah, I do too, and that's why I think that's the number you want to get to, and that's the number that this team needs to strive for. The offense was brutal last year, finished last in the league. Again, you had no players on the team, so you expect that to be a lot better this year. And I imagine it will be. I think if the Grizzlies can successfully play as fast as they want to play, they should be scoring that many points on a regular basis, unless they have just a horrible night shooting. I think because of the pace they want to play, they're going to get up more shots, and they're going to get up better shots. So more shots, better shots, more scoring. And I think that's kind of the formula for the Grizz.
Rob, what did you make of the Grizzlies' decision to sign Scottie Pippen Jr. to a standard contract and then Yuki Kawamura getting the two-way?
Happy for Scottie Pippen. I mean, I think he earned it. He just kept showing that he can play, and I think he kept showing the coaches that they can trust him. His defensive performance out there on the floor is great, regardless of who he's out there against, whether he's out there against starters or out there against backups. His defensive effort is great. What he can do offensively and just how smart he plays offensively. I mean, he doesn't force scoring, but he'll take scoring if it's given to him. I think he just continued to play so well that you had no other option. I mean, he was that good, and because of that, I think he truly earned this regular standard contract, and I'm happy for him because the players like him, and he's a guy that, I mean, heck, he's lived his whole life being in the shadow of his father, and he's a different type of player, and he has struggled to make it. And to now have that secured, I think, is a big, huge lift off his shoulders, and I think he should be proud of the fact that he made it on his own.
Absolutely.
And has made it at a different position and has made a name for himself. And so I'm happy for him. I'm really happy for him. He's a great guy and just a heck of a basketball player. So I'm excited that he's got that opportunity. And then good for Yuki. He's going to bring some excitement to South Haven with the hustle. And, he's a guy that when given an opportunity, he's shown that he can be a very smart, high IQ type of player as well. And, I mean, to be able to be successful at that size, you got to have some basketball sense. And I think he shows that basketball.
We talked about with him at the Olympics, and Rob, I don't know if he's 5'8". I know that because he's a smaller player, but he brought the energy at the Olympics, and he will sell a bunch of jerseys.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We even brought Brevin and I in our podcast last week. We named it Yuki, just to see if we could get a good response, and we did. This guy's got 630,000 followers on Instagram, and he's only posted 10 times. So we decided we would go ahead and take advantage of that and use his name so we could get some listeners and some viewers last week, and it worked. I mean, it was incredible. He's a very popular guy with his teammates, very popular with his coaches, and certainly very popular with the fans. So I'm happy for him too. That's a cool story. And, if given the opportunity to play with the Grizzlies, I don't think he'll embarrass himself. I think the guy, you can put him in there and know that you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Last thing for you, Rob. We know Jaren Jackson won't play tonight. Luke Kennard won't play tonight either. What does this roster or what does this rotation look like tonight, and what do you expect tonight against Utah?
Well, I expect Santi will start in Jaren's spot. So you got 4 of your 5 starters. I mean, that's an upgrade from last year. So that's good. I'm excited to see. I'm interested. Well, I'm always interested to watch Ja and see what Ja's going to do. But I'm really interested tonight to see, what Marcus Smart's going to do. We only saw him for 20 games last year, and so kind of want to see him and see how he fits in and see how he can play on both ends of the floor. So I want to see Marcus Smart and his ability to fit in, and then, just Zach Edey. It's the big fella, and see how big of an impact he can make in his first game, especially going against a couple of big guys. You got Walker Kessler, who's got good size. You got Laurie Markkinen, who's going to play outside, and that might not be Zach Edey's problem, but he's going to have to be aware of where he's at. So see how Zach's going to play tonight, and then, some of the guys like Jake LaRavia and Jalen Wells, they're going to be called on to perform tonight because of the injuries to Vince Williams, Luke Kennard, and Gigi Jackson. Can Jake, when he's on the floor, can he play and show that he's an NBA guy? He did that at the end of last season, played really well in Summer League. Hopefully he can continue to build off that momentum. A guy like Jalen Wells, the rookie, if you're going to be put in certain situations, can you play like you're not a rookie? Can you be a guy that you can be counted on? And he's going to get that opportunity. So we'll see that as well. So those are some of the things that I'm looking forward to tonight. And I'm expecting a win. Let's start the season off with a win. Grizzlies on the road. The Grizzlies, when they've opened the season on the road, are 0-6. That changes tonight. Grizzlies get their first win. They're a 3-point favorite. I'm taking Grizzlies. I'm not taking because I can't bet it. But my tease for our FanDuel segment tonight includes the Grizzlies on the money line.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why not? On the FanDuel Sports Network. Rob, as always, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again soon.
Thank you for saying that often during this interview because I have to get it down.
That's right. Yeah, we're trying to get it in that head. That's right.
You got it down. Rob, we'll be watching.
They keep telling us dead with the red, in with the blue.
I love that. Thanks, Rob.
Crush it, my man. I know you will.
Will do. Thanks, fellas. Enjoy it tonight.
Thanks, Rob. Rob
Thank
Fisher. We'll be watching him here in a couple hours on FanDuel Sports Network. I love it.
And you know, a lot of times you hear this about a player. He just knows how to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's Scottie Pippen Jr. Obviously, you know, he learned from one of the all-time greats.
Absolutely.
But it was one of the major things that I would always defend, even on some rough Sundays, some rough Saturdays in college, about Eli Manning being the little brother.
Mm-hmm.
If he had wanted to be, he could have just, hey, my dad's a star. My brother's a star. My big brother's a legend in other ways around Ole Miss. I'm just going to take it easy and enjoy college. He didn't do it. He went to work. Scottie Pippen Jr. I don't know what the financial arrangement is, but I imagine his dad's good to him.
Sure.
I'm just going to cruise on my famous first and last name, and I'm not going to put this work in. He put the work.
He absolutely did. And
I so respect that.
It's a great point because a good career at Vanderbilt, but undrafted out of in his draft class. Spent a couple years in the G League. Could have said, you know what. I'm a Pippen. I don't got to do all this, but he didn't, and he had that chip on his shoulder, and he fought for this, and now getting a roster spot, a standard contract, really, really cool to see. Before we get to a break, let me remind you about our friends over at Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984. Their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, or the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635 horsepower. And it's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Also, take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The 2025 Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. And don't forget about the Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call at 877-259-6169 or go online to jaguarbluffcity.com. Let's get to another break, and when we come back, we got to continue making NBA predictions. We did the East yesterday. Now it's time to predict the West. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Spencer here with ATC Fitness. There's no better time of the year than now. Football and fitness go hand in hand in the fall. And with individual screens on each piece of cardio and multiple big screens throughout the rest of the club, you'll never miss a bit of the action watching your favorite team. ATC Fitness continues to be the Mid-South's choice for fitness, family-owned for 30 years, and proud supporters of Coach Silverfield and the Memphis Tigers. Join online at atcfitness.com. ATC Fitness. Exercise your right to look good.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 1-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
the year in style during the Mitsubishi Motors year-end sales event at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Take your pick from 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV with 420 total range or 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Now $349 a month. That's Outlander PHEV or Outlander Sport. Your choice, $349 a month. And get ready to slip into something more comfortable with your 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander. Only $31,700 or $499 a month. Plus, every Gossett Mitsubishi comes with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi today and end your year with savings at 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
RZO 67244, MSRP 42750 Sport, RUO 18037, MSRP 28115, Outlander RZO 67690, MSRP 332. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Range Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Contractors, are you in town for a job or getting ready to do a job for a customer during their holiday shutdown? Then you should visit TSS Supply for your concrete coatings and supplies. Why wait for materials when TSS Supply has everything you need in stock and they can get it to you today or within 24 hours? TSS Supply, 5665 East Range Road.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in town Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Looked like they were moving a wreck on 40. Looked like eastbound over there at Watkins, just off that 101 connector. Also trying to clear up a wreck here at 40 westbound at Danny Thomas. There's a lot of traffic trying to get up through here. Out of Midtown, headed towards the Hernando de Soto Bridge. Looking at this accident, they're just rubbernecking as they drive by 40 west at the Danny Thomas crash. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York. But many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 per person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Vergas' Rendezvous, in the alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. We got about 30 minutes left in today's show. Yesterday, we went through the East. Now we've got to go through the West. And I'll be honest, Brett, all the time I've been here, whether producer, co-host, I have participated in these lists. This list today, by far and away, the hardest list I've had to put together. This is almost impossible, so I'll let you go first.
This list can be a humbler.
Oh, man.
We could look back this in April, and we often do, and have some real laughs with a lot of these preseason picks. I didn't say it yesterday, but my MVP is Jason Tatum. Y'all are going to think it's just after last night, but I promise you I had it down from yesterday.
I trust you.
My rookie of the year is going to be Zach Edey, and I'll get to my coach of the year in a second. I'm going to go 15-1. 15 Utah, tonight's opponent for the Grizzlies. 14 Portland. Donovan Clingan experience starts tonight. That's going to be fun late night to watch. 13 San Antonio. I said they were hard to place. I think San Antonio could finish 8, 9, 10, but I'm having them at 13 with one more year of Wembanyama experience. 12 Houston, Friday night's opponent. 11 the Lakers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
11.
All right. Wow. Okay.
10 New Orleans. 9 Clippers. 8 Golden State. I mean, Golden State, Clippers, and Lakers, that could be 1, 2, and 3 for some people.
Yeah.
I've got Sacramento 7, Phoenix 6, Minnesota 5, the Memphis Grizzlies with 48 wins, the 4, 3 Dallas, 2 Denver, 1 Oklahoma City. First round, Oklahoma City over Golden State in the 1 versus 8. Denver, the 2 over the 7, Sacramento. Phoenix over Dallas in an upset, 6 defeating the 3. 4-5, yes, I have Memphis beating Minnesota. It's been the only playoff series win in John Morant's career in this front office experience here, but I'm going to have the Grizzlies advance. Second round, Denver over Phoenix, and Memphis over Oklahoma City. Memphis to the Western Conference Finals in year 6 for this management team, just like the previous one accomplished, but that's as far as they get. Denver wins the West, and I've got Denver over Boston in the NBA Finals.
Wow. All right. Derek.
Coach of the year, Taylor Jenkins.
I'm ready to go.
Oh, Taylor Jenkins, Coach of the Year. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Derek.
Want to save you for last?
You please.
Okay. All right. Me and Britt obviously were cheating off each other a little
okay.
bit. So I'll do the same, 15-1. Utah in the 15 spot. 14, the Clingan era in Portland. 13, the Spurs. 12,
exactly
Houston.
so far.
Houston
exactly so far.
12. The Clippers, the Intuit Dome or Arena, I don't think is going to be a welcome.
You're not into it, huh?
Yeah, I'm not into it. I got them at 11. Let's see, 15, 14, 13,
yeah,
12.
right.
Yep, that's 11. At 10, I have Golden State. Let's see. My number's supposed to be off, y'all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's it. That's right. All right, next I got Sacramento. Sacramento in the 8th spot, I believe. Am I missing someone, guys?
Darren, I didn't do your list.
All right, long story. I got Sacramento in the 8 hole. The Pelicans, I'm giving them some credence. I'm hoping Zion does well in the 7th spot. I like what I saw, and not necessarily from a team standpoint, but from the coaching. I saw a different performance from the coaching room in the Lakers room. So I have them at 6. Dallas at 5. Memphis at 4. The Suns, I think Tyus Jones, I've been telling Brian this all day. Tyus Jones unlocks it. I just absolutely think he does. Denver at 2, OKC at 1. Playoffs, OKC over Sacramento in the 1-8. Memphis versus Dallas in the 4-5. I'll take the Grizzlies. 2-7, Denver. There it is again. Denver over New Orleans in the 2-7 deal. 3-6, the battle of the old heads. LeBron and KD finally kills each other one last time. I'll take the Lakers in that one. Next, I'll have Memphis and OKC, where I have OKC finally getting their just desserts. I mean, the refs' whistle are going to go their way finally at some point. Down below, I have Denver and L.A., in which Jokic does it for a third straight year. He knocks the Lakers out. And I have Denver advancing for a loss to the Philadelphia 76ers over the Denver Nuggets.
Okay.
Embiid and Jokic in the finals again. That's too massive.
But I'm with you, Brett. I think Denver.
Yeah.
I think Denver revitalizes itself and gets back to its rightful spot.
All right. For me, all right, I'll do what y'all did. I'll start
The hardest list you've ever had to do.
And work my way up. I don't like this list at all, but hey, here we are. 15, Utah, the Jazz team. The Grizzlies go up against tonight.
We were unanimous in that.
Yeah, we all agree on who's going to be dead last. 14, I've got Portland. So we were all on that as well. 13, I have the New Orleans Pelicans. I think we're going to get to a point this year. Injuries, trades, they're going to just tank and be down towards the bottom. 12, I have Houston. 11, I have San Antonio. 10, I have the Clippers. 9, I have the Lakers. 8, I have the Warriors. 7, I have Sacramento. 6, Memphis. 5, Minnesota. 4, Denver. 3, Phoenix. 2, Dallas. And number 1, again, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now going to my playoffs, 1 versus 8, Thunders versus Lakers. I've got the Thunder winning that series, so 1 over 8. I've got the Lakers winning to get into that playoffs. 4 versus 5, Denver versus Minnesota. I have Minnesota beating Denver and winning that one. The 3-6, Phoenix versus Memphis. I have Memphis defeating the Suns. And then 2-7, Dallas and the Warriors. I have Dallas winning that one as the 2 seed. My next round, Minnesota over Oklahoma City. So the 5 over the 1. Minnesota advances. Memphis and Dallas. I have Dallas defeating the Grizzlies, unfortunately. So my conference finals, Minnesota against Dallas. And I have Minnesota advancing to the NBA Finals to take on the Boston Celtics, where I think the Boston Celtics get it done. Again, back-to-back. How about that?
The best part of your list is Clay beating Steph.
How about
I would love to
honestly
see that.
Didn't even think about it. How about this?
Yep.
Another best part of my list, Brett lost power halfway through that list.
Oh, he's not
with us anymore. He texted me, said I lost power.
Is he out? Yep, he is. I guess he'll call back in a sec.
Wow. Lost power.
Yeah, but you have Minnesota going all the way.
So I'll be honest, little dirty secret.
Go for it.
While Brett's not on, I forgot to write down my MVP, Coach of the Year, and Rookie of the Year. So I'll go ahead and tell you because I put them all together real quick.
Good, okay. I guess since we're confessing, I left Minnesota all the way out. I figured out that's who I left out. But I guess hindsight is 2020. I did not have them in my finals, so I won't redo it. I'm a firm believer they're going to make the playoffs, but I think still OKC and Denver. So go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. You told me that, or it felt like.
That's my MVP, though.
Who?
Anthony Edwards. That's my MVP.
That's a good one. But it felt like you were going to be more down on Minnesota based on that performance last night.
Oh, yeah. So much so that I forgot him.
How about that? So my MVP, I'm going to go with SGA. With Thunder. Look, if the Thunder are back at the number 1 seed, I think it's going to be because those guys played so well, and SGA is going to lead that. I think he's going to put up a bunch of numbers like he did last year. I think he is the MVP. My Coach of the Year, how about Jason Kidd? He did such a great job with Dallas last year. If they're the 2nd seed in the West, I think the West is going to be so competitive that I think he gets that done. And I'm going to bring up a guy I brought up the other day for my Rookie of the Year. No hate to Zach Edey, but I do think this guy is undervalued right now because of what? No, I wish. He didn't play last night, which was crazy. We didn't even talk about that. But I'm gonna go with this guy who I don't even know. Let's look this up. What his odds are for Rookie of the Year this year. I'm going to go, and I can't pronounce his name for the life of me.
Not Ricochet, right?
Ricochet.
Oh, I thought I was thinking about, who's that in Washington? That is
Alex Sarr.
Sarr is the one I was thinking about. Ricochet.
Ricochet was supposed to go to Washington because if you remember, it feels like forever ago this happened. Alex Sarr was the number 1 pick, lock, done. Then he said, Atlanta, I don't want to be a part of your organization. And so they went with Ricochet, the young man from France, instead of going Sarr. Sarr goes number 2 to Washington. Let me look at the odds right now.
Edie, I think Edie leads everywhere.
I think he
everyone
does.
is talking themselves into
Look,
Edie.
I hope Edie wins it. That'd be fantastic. Awards. Here we go. So Rookie of the Year right now. Okay, Ricochet is plus 850. He's got the third best odds, right behind Reed Shepherd and Zach Edey. How about this? Somebody that's making improvements, and I don't know if they play tonight. Shame on me for not knowing. Booz who I was so big on before that. I love Booz He has the fourth best odds right now at plus 1,000. But Zach Edey leading the way by a wide margin, plus 350 right now on the betting odds to win Rookie of the Year. Next closest would be Reed Shepherd, and he is only plus 700. So
he's going to get some opportunities with that run and gun style that they're going to have in Houston.
Reed Shepherd? Oh, yeah.
He's going to
like
get a ton of opportunities.
I picked him up I drafted him on my fantasy team. One of the last picks in the fantasy league.
So you have Boston winning it all. Brett had Denver and did he have Boston?
Who did he have yesterday? I think he did have Boston. And you have Philly.
Yeah, I have Philly. Did he have Denver cutting it down? Didn't he say Denver winning it all?
I think he did.
I think so.
I think he did.
I have Denver getting back there. Jokic, I mean, shame on me for not giving him a fourth MVP. He has 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, shame on me for not giving him a fourth. But my defensive player of the year, I got Wemby. Rookie of the year, Edey, which is not a homer deal. I've been on him even before they draft. I thought the draft spot was perfect. I thought the draft spot was perfect.
Anybody that doesn't want to believe you, question you, whatever, go back to the day of the draft when it all kind of hit me. Oh my gosh. They're either going to draft Klingon
This is going to happen.
And I had a mental breakdown, and you were like, no.
Relax. RELAX.
They're going to be fine if they get Edey. And then sure enough, Grizzlies are on the clock. My guy's sitting there, Booz, and they go Edey. So I'm excited to see what he can do tonight. Like I said, we talked about this on John's show. Last thing before we get to a break.
Don't reinvent the wheel when you're dealing with him. If he has an advantage, just utilize it on the floor until the adjustments are made. This is still Ja's team. This is still Bain's team.
Right.
This is still Jaren Jackson's team.
And one thing I've noticed about Edey, and it's a great quality, and I think I've noticed it more. His agent, Andy Schiffman, joins Dave Lotion on Fridays, and so especially during the draft process, he was talking a lot about Edey, even before he thought the Grizzlies might be in there. Obviously, he knew the Grizzlies liked him, but every time he'd come on, he'd go, man, Zach Edey, when you get him in the gym, he's working. He wants to know what he can improve on. He wants to work on those things. He wants to get better. And I think you've seen that throughout his entire career. 3-star, unknown guy at IMG. Heck, he was here. IMG was playing here against Briarcrest. A lot of people there. Not once did anybody say anything about Zach Edey going to Purdue. He goes to Purdue. He's deep on the depth chart, not playing a lot as a freshman, as a sophomore, then gets his opportunity, takes complete advantage of it, back-to-back player of the year. And all of that is that hard work that he's put in. I think he's continued to put in that hard work as he gets ready for his first year in the NBA. So excited to see what he can do tonight against the Jazz. Should be a fun one. Right now, the Grizzlies a 2.5-point favorite tonight against
If Zach
the
Edey
Jazz.
was a law firm, we'd call him a young professional the way that you just described him. So
How about that?
that's my nickname for him. So I gave young professional for Edey and what do we have? Red Zone Hopkins. Red Zone Hopkins from earlier. Yeah, Red Zone Hopkins. Give him out some names today.
The professional.
Yeah, young professional. There you
young
businessman.
professional.
Only
Yes,
misses
I love it.
2 days from work in his whole career.
I love it. Well, let's get to our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Crunch Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Did you know the PayPal debit card now earns you 5% cash back in the monthly category of your choosing? Groceries, restaurants, health, beauty, gas, and apparel on up to $1,000 of monthly purchases. I'm using my PayPal debit card to earn 5% cash back on apparel. With my travel schedule, I'm buying clothes online all the time. Sign up for the PayPal debit card through the new app.
Terms apply. See PayPal app. This card is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A., pursuant to license by MasterCard International, Inc.
It's here, Genesis Diamond's largest ever sale on luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. It's our castle tonight. If you've ever dreamed of wearing a Rolex, you can't miss this special two-day event this Friday and Saturday. During this event, you can take advantage of special pricing and zero interest financing on a stunning selection of luxurious pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We've got Rolex Golds, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, the hottest model Rolex watches that you can't find anywhere else. All of our luxury pre-owned Rolexes are in pristine, light new condition, some just out of the box, and all priced to sell at this event. Listen to this: with the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex at this event, Genesis will give you a pair of 2-carat black gold diamond stud earrings for free. That's a $3,000 value. And listen up, Rolex owners, our pre-owned Rolex buyers are on site offering top dollar for your Rolex. Come see the largest selection of luxury Rolex watches in the state and take advantage of special financing. Plus, get a pair of 2-carat black gold diamond stud earrings free. It's this Friday and Saturday only at Genesis Diamonds on Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, if you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast. So, for any kind of office,
I'm really going places in my office.
count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The holidays are almost here again, and whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year's, I've sold homes on all of them and even more. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors, and find that many people do move during this time of year. Being involved with a major relocation network, we see a lot of people moving into the Memphis area as the holiday season doesn't stop them, nor does it stop people who are just now beginning to start their home search. A couple of things you should remember. Waiting until spring when the azaleas bloom, so do the real estate signs, which means more competition. Before you list your home with someone, you should always talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and just make sure that I am one of them. Find out why they say that when you want the job done, call Sheldon. And yes, I may be the worst golfer in town, but I have a highly successful strategic marketing program that gets it done. Call or email me at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. That's Shell Dunn at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com.
Now back to Sportstime on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Plus. Once again,
this is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Goodbye! Hello, Haskell. It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Well, what I learned today is that the regular season is officially here in the NBA. We've talked a lot about it throughout today's show, but the Grizzlies here in just a couple hours, 8 o'clock in Utah, 8 o'clock Memphis time, that is. The Grizzlies will take the court against the Utah Jazz, and it will be fun to see Ja Morant and Desmond Bane and those guys back out there. Now, we know there are going to be some guys out. Gigi Jackson won't play tonight. We know Vince Williams is going to be out for some time. Jaren Jackson Jr. will be out tonight. Luke Kennard will be out. But those guys that are going to be in there that missed so much time last year, it's going to be fun to see those guys back out there. We've talked a lot about Zach Edey What does he show tonight? How does he play? It's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see how Utah comes out. What do they show in the front court? Is it John Collins at the center position to start the game, or is it Walker Kessler? Who do they throw out there, and how does Zach Edey react to that? It's going to be fun to see, but I'm so excited for this Grizzlies game later tonight.
Brian, I know I learned this today. The Grizzlies' expectations are high locally, and they should be. After scandal, major injury, time away, it's all in the past. The players should be the expectation, and these players are expected to be really good, and that bar should be that high. Winning at least a series in the postseason should be expected.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It should, and I think they have the team to do it. They have the talent to get it done, and so now they just got to go out there and make it happen. But, man, this West is no joke. Going back to what I said, making this list for the Western Conference is just so hard to try to predict.
Hardest ever.
This conference. Honestly, hardest ever. What I could have done without reports went out earlier today that a Virginia Tech guard, Hysier Miller, a transfer from Temple, is no longer with the program. This relates to the Temple gambling situation that was underway last March. If anybody forgot, there were a couple of games where some eyebrows were raised, and they took odds down for a conference game that involved Temple. The next couple of games, they didn't put odds up. There was an investigation that went on about this team, and now it looks like a player that transferred from Temple away from that program to Virginia Tech is now no longer with the program, and it sounds like he might have had some involvement with that situation. It was a UAB Temple game that got flagged back on March 7th after some unusual wagering activity. So maybe we learned some more from this, but a story that I don't think many people have thought about since March, popping back up for a Virginia Tech guard just a couple weeks before the season starts.
And that won't be the only case.
No.
Could have done without the Knicks' performance last night. They got blasted by Boston. And come playoff time, that will be a repeat. If that's the Eastern Conference Finals, Boston will do that like that to them about 4 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's what it seems like. I mean, they were in absolute, complete control last night. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to Salt Lake City for Grizzlies. Grizzlies 5-18 all time in Memphis in 23 opening nights. We mentioned the 0-6 on the road. Rob says they're getting off that. The seal breaker of the season tonight, 8 o'clock on FanDuel Sports Network. Utah won the season series last year 2-1.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot different this year in this season series, but we'll have to wait and see. That's going to be a lot of fun. Honestly, beam me there as well. I got to see what the Grizzlies show tonight against this Utah team. To see John Morant back out there in a regular season game is going to be a ton of fun, and maybe even beam me before that game starts at 8 o'clock tonight. Maybe beam me up to Detroit to see the Pistons versus the Pacers. Maybe Detroit shows a little bit more early in the season than they did last year to start the year.
Hey, Brett, while you're in Utah, go ahead and check some of that Utah Hockey Club while you're out there.
Oh, yeah. Check out the
I'll
Hockey
be sure
Club.
to do that. You know that. and buy gear. In about 5 minutes in Motown, you got Indiana and Detroit. It goes all the way to the 9 o'clock tip in Portland for the first game of Donovan Clingan in his debut with the Portland Trailblazers. College football, 5-0 Liberty against 0-6 Kennesaw State.
Yeah, should be a fun night. A little football, a little basketball. It's going to be a lot of fun, but that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience.